And welcome back to the UCS 2026 EU Regional League, day number 2. Hi, I'm Zero In on Alex, one of your casters for EU. With me, Ryan Nitera, as we are getting ready to get started. I am excited. This is a match I know a lot of us are been waiting for. It is BH3 versus Team PEPS. You have the new roster of Pepsi and Klaus, Zante, Marv, Bruv, and then you also have the very favorite of BH3 with Utah and Megami, Panic, Azaro, Reizu. And I could not be more excited to be here, Nitera.
I mean, all the same to you as well. I mean, glad to be back here for day 2. We promised you a great game today, and we've got it started with BH3 versus PEPS Max. Moving into it here. And of course, as we take a look at how this is going to go, Klaus is going to be on the central area as per normal here. And on the other side here, we of course have the ever-patented Mewtwo who's just going to lock himself in. But is that a Philosopher I see on the top side there?
That is a Pokemon absolutely moving on in there. But more importantly, something that we've been able to see, not only Machamp, but we're also seeing a resurgence, at least for the EU side, Zante being on the Decidueye. It is a Pokemon that is just not being played, not being seen in North America. EU has really picked it up and sees the value on it. Klaus chasing Sazero away, though, trying to knock them out with these aerial aces. They were getting invaded, and they're just trying to take an extra KO, and they come out ready to rock and roll as they head to the top path. Bruv, just a little bit of extra insurance for Klaus.
And the thing is, Klaus actually gets back an extra buff from that, and so he's back to the double buffs here to go in. It's a 3v2 situation, and they actually walk away with so much more. PEPS Max having most of the Altarias and the Swablues here, and now they are actually stacking back up against them. On the other side, though, we have to also know BH3 has got the 8 points out in the bag, which means their stacks are kind of soaring high now.
Yeah, I mean, right there, though, we were able to see the big KO. There's a little bit of a discrepancy here. The crowd control, the CC, with this Mewtwo X, along with the submission Machamp, can cause a lot of problems. And the way Zante has been using these autos to just kind of hold them down, and a great job by Marv. The CC, the Ice Fang that comes out from Mamoswine, is just so powerful to not only cause some good crowd control, but also to repositioning to start the match.
Right, starting it off here, we are moving to 8-minute mark. Regidrago has spawned here, and right now it looks like we're postured in with Pepsi Max here to actually take the Regidrago. No one else is really going to this, as we do see, I do believe it's Utah who's going in on it fast and furious here. With the help of Klaus here, we might be able to see a takedown on Megu.
Great job by Marv to trying to create a little bit of a distance here. Bruv was there as just a little bit of an extra insurance play, but look at the boosted auto. Not able to get the full Mamoswine, but this is the thing. The Machamp from BH3 is going to cause a lot of extra crowd control, a lot of repositioning for the side of BH3. You have the Umbreon, who's a good tank, can do things like foul play, mean look, and it has been the foul play to just repositioning. You have the Mewtwo X, who's probably going to run the future sight if they want to be able to pull somebody back, and then submission kind of in the same vein if they're trying to catch up to somebody. And look at that, Marv was trying to get away, and the future sight was not looking bright for their future.
There's a lot of Looney Tunes action right there, though. 7 minutes on the clock now. Objectives have spoiled. It looks like our basement here looking mighty fine. Lots of Pokemon there. First one picking up Regieleki on the side of Team PEPS Max here, and they're going to be barreling forward with the help of a Decidueye in the fray here. Taking a double KO, and it looks like we're going to continue to see Kranix for just a bit longer.
Yeah, Kranix is just kind of holding things down, but we got 3 KOs coming out from the Decidueye, able to get a lot going for them. The Regieleki does land at home. Bruv, and just right now, Team PEPS is controlling a lot of the things, but BH3 is going on the convergence. Bruv gets taken out. The headache gauge allows them to live a little bit longer, but this is kind of a 1v1 versus Potato there, and Kranix working up against each other. But right now, Team PEPS is up 110 to 26.
Right, and starting out strong here, Utah trying to find an opening here for Klaus, and the help of the Archer himself, not giving him any space to move in. Looks like they have to relent to holding themselves back here and go into the attic here, which we will see is the Regirock, the brother of 3 here. Let's see how he can work this out.
Yeah, Regirock is going to be a good piece that Kranix is looming in, going in, get the submission, and then get pulled in by the Future Sight. Ultra Soul Slam going to try to land him, but the Unite move comes out. The Infinite Cyburn also comes out from Utah. Positioning and control is all for BH3. Regirock is going to get peeled back a little bit more, though. They're going to need more time. They're going to take a lot of healing back here. Look at the Spirit Shackles. The Spirit Shackles are being charged up and going in. Kranix is going to be taking down Knock Knock. Who's there? That's going to be the Decidueye who's answering the call. Big sigh, but a Moonlight Prance to knock out those shields.
And right now, it's all left to Megu to talk on all of these Pokemon here. I don't really think it can defend this, but again, Megu doing its best to stop any points from going in to maintain a point lead in sense, right? They don't want to drop down below this current deficit that they have, and they're doing so well in that. Score lead now is about 74 points here, while Team PEPS did not get an advantage. They are postured for another Regieleki, and that itself could be another point gain for them if they get it.
BH3 started off so powerfully, trying to slow down everything that they could against Klaus, but it does seem that Peps has been able to kind of refine themselves. Kranix, though, looming within. Bruv checking things out. Nobody wants to go in fully. The Regieleki is heading to tier 2 in the bottom path. The question is, can Team Peps take this as a distraction and push a little bit harder in the top path?
Well, it's gonna come down to next objective coming up as well. Regidrago giving you the buff to score really fast. That's gonna be the next one they have to look forward to. Marv going very deep in. They need to peel for his team. They want to get this Regidrago now, but he's looking a little bit worse for wear. This thick fat ability though, holding him hard and heavier, and he's able to walk away with a little bit of skin on his teeth here. A beautiful block by Klaus here, jumping in with the Blaze Kick and eject button here to lock his team out. We don't have a Rose Duck today, but we do have a full team on Pepsi Max ready to engage Regidrago as and when BH3 slips up. But it's gonna be one chance.
You gotta give credit where credit is due. The fact that Rezu was able to use that solar beam to just kind of stop any scores. The defense from BH3 hasn't been anything spectacular, but they have been able to hold the fort down, allowing themselves to still have a little bit of breathing room, because there still hasn't been like a triple digit difference between the two. But I will say right now, Team Peps is looking mighty fine, as we are just about a minute and a half away from the first objective going to be Kyogre, while right now Kranix is trying to find something. Going into the submission, into the Unite move. They're trying to make a play.
A lot of barrage blows here. We do see another Moonlight Prance come and see and lock them out here. A pick down from the boss. Potato trying to make some headways on Utah, but gets squashed like the bucket he is. Going down here, Mob trying to help his team here. The Iceman goes through here. Bruv going away here. It looks like this duck is back into the slaughterhouse here. And right now, objectives are flowing. There is a Reggie at the top here. The EXP is going to BH3, and they're still pushing their lead here. Looks like BH3 has been back in the foot here. They put themselves back in the door and now ready to get into it. Alex, one more objective remains here in this Regieleki and the Regidrago. I think this is going to be a tough one for the 2-minute mark.
Yeah, I mean, when you talk about a pendulum swinging in the opposite direction, BH3, that's what they need. They're back in the game. Levels are just looking fantastic. They have 3 level 13s. Meanwhile, Team Peps does have the Decidueye, which again is going to need to be a key peacemaker at a long distance. It's one of the best ranges in the game, and EU again has been able to prioritize it. Klaus gets sniffed out. Marv, meanwhile, trying to find positioning, but right now, this is the first objective of day number 2.
It's Kyogre coming in, Knock Knock going hard first, and we're gonna see the damage fly through. They're just trying to rush it down here. The team called the Crash, Mystical Barrage here, trying to see if they can catch up onto Ante here, who's looking very low. Bit by bit, the Spirit Shackle does pick it up here. He is saved by the arrow, and they're able to pick themselves up by triple KO. Moving into that, I need a replay on that later on, and we can go down bit by bit on how that works. That was amazing.
The way they used the Knock Knock to be able to rip, which again, unfortunately happens one too many times in my ranked matches, but it does not always go the way I want it to. But they just went for the full team rip. They were trying to find positioning, and they took it. There's still a minute and 20 left, and they do have Eldegoss chipping away here at it, but they're going to need a buff or two to try to get in here. But look at Zante. Look at these autos going around Sazero. Sazero gets taken down by Patati, and now repositioning. This is all out defense. Team Peps could actually offer to give tier 1 in the bottom path. But you have Bruv and Patati just kind of repositioning, and they are going to give this one up. You're not getting as much heals, so you can afford to give one of these up. You don't want to give more up than that, but I think that's Marv who's going to dunk in another extra 100 points in insurance, and a big knock. Who's there? We are knocking on the door of victory as Team PEPS' defense is on top of the world.
I mean, it's a very tough fight for them to come back after that here. I don't really feel like there's much you can add on other than the fact that in this 30 seconds, it's time to just wrap it up here. Get a good idea on how you can beat PEPS Max here. There's with any good competitor, it's gonna come down to whether you can find a strategy to beat them.
Yeah, I mean, you have to go back to the drawing board, but this is the match I've been anticipating for, or if not the second most. But we can talk about other teams in a little bit. But the coming out of Team PEPS into this game has been absolutely nothing but stellar. The way BH3 was able to answer the call, and then Team PEPS said, "What's up, danger? Don't be a stranger. You want to swing one way? We'll swing the pendulum right back. You throw a left hook, we'll throw two right." Because everything that BH3 had, Team PEPS always had an answer. So a great job by them winning game number 1 as we get into day 2.
And of course, how else can we look at it? But this is a beautiful start to it. Again, definitely hard fought. PEPS Max here definitely had so much going for them, and I cannot tell you how hard it was for them to make that rip, that call, and that arrow save. Honestly, if Zante fell there, I think that would have been a really, really easy sweep from BH3 after that. Right? They had the Kyogre buff, they had everything going for them, they had Zante who just happened to spike in levels as well. Like, it was going for them after that Ogre.
Right. I mean, there goes a saying that when there's a raid, there's a way. Well, let me tell you, when Kyogre is here, it is not over in any way, shape, or form. They found a way. And it's one of those things where you look at a team and trying to go for the rip and flip isn't always necessarily the most effective, but PEPS is able to use it effectively. The way they always had Klaus at the ready. Even looking at the damage, you see that Potato wasn't doing these big, massive numbers, but they were able to do something. Control, pacing, momentum. Meanwhile, Klaus and Zante were the ones just going for the rip. Again, you had that hindrance resistance with Klaus's overheat, but in the end, it was the arrow, the knock, who's there, and this arrow has saved the city, and now Zante was able to get it. So great job by the squad overall. It really goes to show that you can rip and flip to get away with it, but at the end of the day, you gotta turn the page. This is the best of 3, and if you're just tuning in right now, this is the UCS 2026 season here at the Regional League. This is a great matchup of Team PEPS versus BH3, as Team PEPS is able to take game 1 in a best of 3.
I mean, again, like you said, best of 3, which means it's not over just yet. And if you're just tuning in, scoreline now is we do have a 1-0 on the table here. It is match point, and we're gonna see whether they can pick themselves up this final point here. Oh, but we see Black can actually turn it around to stabilize it into a 1-1 scenario here. And so, of course, very tough fight. And I'm not really sure if Team PEPS Max can pull through for this one. They did it well, but maybe if all the tricks are out of the back here, BH3 can pull something and a miracle could happen.
Yeah, no, I mean, this is the thing, right? You're going in with a different kind of strategy, and we can already see the Gyarados is here. The Mega Gary is scary. The question is, Kranix, can you be that Gary? As they are going to go in with a completely different setup here. Utah going with the Leafeon does mean that they're going to be able to catch up to this Decidueye, but moreover, you have that early game flank where you can get just the Xatu, a Baltoy, and a buff, and you can go in and make a difference. As look, we're seeing Deja Vu as Sazero goes into the central area to try to slow down Klaus.
Right, so it's gonna be a bit tough on this side of things here. Bruv getting in to see if he can stop the enemy from growing any more farm here. And once again, Saz doing his best to be the annoying little flower that is. You know, pollination gives you a little bit of allergies here. This one just wants to bring the allergy to you.
Yeah, I mean, I am not allergic, but they're going to be allergic to a little bit of a Leafy on there. Also to note, for the viewers watching at home, this is not Zante. This is Klaus on the Decidueye trying to find a way in, because we saw in game number 1, Klaus was the Blaziken and they left Zante to be the attacker. And oh, those Razor Leafs are extra sharp as they're able to take down, chop that Patati down to size. Hopefully they don't make french fries out of them.
Hey, and here's the scoreline here. 16-9 here. Bottom side, 3 players pushing in. They might get themselves a little bit of sashimi today, but Megu's looking really strong here to try and defend his little poor Magikarp. Right now, like I said, score 16-9 is actually a good thing on both sides because they have stacks to gain, and that means points were scored across. So it's going to be a little bit more even, all the same.
Yeah, they want to make sure they're a little bit more parity. Kranix is going to be a big key piece here, though. They're almost ready to go live with the Mega Gary carry. Rezu is going to be pulled right back into the fray, but luckily Sazuro is there to kind of save the day, give him a little extra bit of health. I do like the idea of a slow bro. You know, the Surfs at level 11 having the extra knockup is always good. And who doesn't like a slow beam unite move? Just being able to lock an entire Pokemon down to make a play, especially when you're going up against something like a Mega Gyarados, it's just so much value, as the rest of BH3 having a little bit better of a match now with Regidrago being the target.
And this is going to be a tough one for them. Starting it off, they do get a pick up onto the Leafeon at the start, right? And that's going to be a problem because, I mean, who else is going to defend them? They don't have the damage coming through from that. And so they've got to wait their time here, bite it down. But 20 seconds on the clock here before our next set objective spawns. Regidrago is picked up by Klaus of all people. This man's going to be a happy one if he gets another stack of 30 in.
Yeah, they want to get those stacks in, do a little bit of extra damage is always good, and that's kind of the way Team Peps has been able to do this. The way they hold Decidueye down to kind of protect it. Megu and Kranix, just another great duo. As we all know, Megu and Utah always end up on a team together, and they've always performed magnificently together. Klaus is using these arrows to be careful, but look at Utah.
Oh, Utah?
They're looking for a bird. They're trying to go hunting. Patati gets taken down, and now Kranix, or no, that's actually Klaus, gets captured, and Utah's able to get 3 KOs while Zante and Bruv are trying to take down a Mega Gyarados, but that's Kranix who's able to get away. But those 3 KOs coming from the Leafeon is very pivotal because this means they have time to get their extra stacks, slow things down, and dish out excessive amount of damage.
Let's take a look at how this is going to pan out here because the teams are very split on this. Bottom side, Team Pax Max going to see if they can score max with Regieleki on the top side though. We have Team BH3 who's trying to actually pick themselves up onto a little bit more EXP for their team here. And they do pick up the Regi Ice here. Mega Gyarados is invested here, but I don't think he's going to be too mega after everything. Does get a trade though, so afterwards it's Mega Sashimi for him as Brow tries to make his way with his team here to take on Megu here. They do have a lot of points they can actually invest right now to drop in. There's the KO on Megu here, and it looks like we're getting a 40 dunk going into that. Potato trying to go for it, takes it out, and there it is. There is the dunk going down in trade for Leafeon.
That is a great job. Good score by Team Peps, though. Like you said a little bit earlier, points are a little bit more on the parity. Like, nobody is being this excessive amount of points. But that's the thing between these two teams. There are names what you can argue are like celebrity household names for EU on both of these teams. We've seen them year after year on different teams, different squads, and right now Team Peps is looking the best that they have been. But again, BH3 still looking like a top contender in the EU region.
Yeah, but so does that make us the the EU like homestay of casters? You know, is that how it works?
You could say we are the home of all the off-stream games for EU, but I mean, shout out to producer Shivam. Yeah, production Shivam, you are the home. You are my home away from home here in EU. But BH3 just kind of looking around to see where they can gain some value, as Kranix is going to be in a little bit of danger going up against Bruv and Zante.
Yep. Sure, thank you so much for being here. We'll definitely be allowing you to flex your skills later since we have switched back to a beautiful production on VMix. But otherwise, let's take a look at how this is going to pan out here. 40 seconds on the clock. The players are postured to see if they can take a little bit more EXP from the cells here. Starting out strong, Megu taking a few hits onto Klaus here, but if not, no engagements just yet. Playing it slow.
Just playing it slow. Nobody wants to overcommit because you also don't want to give up the EXP. But look, we're seeing it again. The knock being used as a rip tool, which we don't see too often. Patati does go in. Registeel's low, and the Leafeon's able to nab it away. 2 members are already down. They're looking for more. Kranix has gone in with the Mega Gary. They are trying to be very scary as they're going in with 3 members down. Patati is back, but look at this. And when it rains, it pours, and it is raining Aos on Thea Sky Ruin.
9-9 score lead right now coming from BH3. They do also pick themselves up a Slowpoke, which I do believe is a delicacy in some regions of the Pokemon universe here. But as we started off here, Red Drago is spawning, and it looks like BH3 wants this for themselves here. Getting it off is gonna be Red Drago onto Meg. I can see how this could work.
Yeah, I mean, you do see, though, a little bit of an expansion. Now we see 198 to 99, almost a 100-point gap. This is going to be the last Reggie Alecki that they're going to be able to have. And Megu being a little gremlin as they're able to score a whopping 40 onto their home pad. That is not a position you want to be in, especially when you're trying to make sure things stay close. Utah going up against Potato, the Emerald 2-step. They put on their little boots on, and they're going dancing. They were able to get the KO, but the Psyduck Bruv able to try to pull them away. Megu is here to try to protect Utah, and they are able to do this. Sazero also able to get away. Rock Tombs to just kind of slow Team Peps down as they make their getaway.
Ooh, and this is going to be an interesting start for them here. Their score lead was once at 99 points, and now it's just jumped up again. 238 here. Let's see how much more they can really take from them as Team Peps Max here. They don't really have the EXP to work around with. Look at the damage they're just taking, even though they are a tanky Pokemon like Buzzwole here. Starting it off, though, it looks like one C can take a very beautiful trade here, but unfortunately, Traveler just did not land it here. But they do get themselves a Leafeon, and again, Big History is down without their damage dealer.
I think a big frustration right now is the fact that Marv is not in, but oh my god, we see Kranix going in. They get slowed down, and here we see the knock. Look where it's positioned. They're going in. Ultra Soul Slam. Leafeon Utah's already down. Marv is trying to stay alive, but Kranix as well. We see the Crustl's able to get 2 big KOs. That's 3 big KOs.
4.
And Resu and Megu are able to go in Mission Impossible style. Hustle, you better make a muscle because all that's left is Bruv. BH3 is trying to turn this around. Bruv is still here, and we do see Slowbros trying to make their way. They don't have the biggest or best, but they're going in for the Bubble Beam, and no! It is the Leafeon Razor Leaves are able to cut it down, and if BH3 is able to convert this, it is looking like a possibility of a Game 3 situation.
Right now, the question I have in my mind is how did it go so wrong here? In fact, the positioning, the Unite moves, they were just on point. Saya Yai has the ability to mitigate some level of damage here, or at least damage reduction as a whole, and he was punting it on his whole team. But that Mega Gyarados here, I mean, once a Sashimi, you know, once prey, now predator.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you right from what I was able to see, it was not only the fact that Rezu and Kranix were there, it is the simple fact that Sazero was able to keep them all alive. Yes, the positioning from Team Peps was absolutely astounding, the Unite moves, but something that I was going to nitpick is Marv is barely into level 11, and that's a big key spike when it comes to Slowbro. At level 11 is when you get Surf Plus, which means you get extra knockup. So instead of having 1, you have about 3, and it makes such a world of difference to be able to slow the enemy team down. They had nothing stopping them. You had Sazero there to give you heals. You had the Mega Gyarados who's just going chomping away. So at the end of the day, yes, Team Peps had great positioning, but I don't think they had the levels. Meanwhile, BH3 had just an entire life support for their side. Mega Gyarados is already hard to deal with, especially when it's just attached to you. But when Megu is also there to kind of chip away, slow them down with Rock Tomb, X Scissor, I mean, yes, they were able to get to Utah, but when you knock down Utah, you still got to deal with Megu, and Kranix was there too. So when you look at things as a whole, yes, PEPS had positioning, but BH3 had a guy named Sazero, Kranix, and Megu to pick up the pieces.
And I mean, you're right? They controlled the tempo of the game here from the start to finish. I mean, Saz has done this twice already, invading and trying to make it really difficult for the side of Team PEPS to actually scale up here. And I have to agree with you that that is great as a start, but they still were so consistent. And I gotta mention that Utah, with a beautiful 86,000 damage right on the dot here, did also get KO a few times, and that just did not stop, DH3 from just completely controlling the game again.
Yeah, they didn't want to lose control. And again, when you're up against Klaus on the Decidueye, which again, we saw Zante use it in game number 1, and it was switched over to Klaus because Zante was able to move over to Mega Mewtwo X, which is a fantastic Pokemon in its own right. But the fact that Utah was able to pick up this Pokemon, especially when you look at the side of Team PEPS, they don't have the best movement. And Leafeon has amazing movement, being able to traverse the map, throw out some leaves, repositioning, and then recall them back. And more than anything, due to the fact that Decidueye is as frail as it is, and its moveset and kit is nothing of movement, you could argue, well, you get a little bit of movement of Shadow Sneak, but who's really moving around, escaping away from total danger? Yes, you could use Leaf Storm to kind of push them away, but at the end of the day, Leafeon is a speedster, and they will get to your backline and knock them out. If not with a combo of like Aerial Ace and Razor Leaf, those Emerald 2-steps on those brown little paws, we're definitely going to send you a all-expense-paid trip to the Pokemon Center. Probably multiple times as well.
Hey, important thing now though is that in this best of 3, we are going to our first game 3 of the first 2 days that we're doing this. Remember, yesterday we had 2 zeros across the board here, even though we weren't here for some technical difficulties because of what 2-0. Today, starting off strong, we have a game number 3, and it's of course with your most anticipated match, I would say.
I would say absolutely. I mean, this is, again, when you look at the squads of both of these teams, these are household names. Sazero, Utah, Resu, Kranix, Megu. For the side of BH3, you have Zante, Patati, Klaus, Marv, and Bruv. I mean, when you talk about EU names that we have seen season after season, the way they've been able to not only just compete, but the way they've also been able to improve, it just goes to show that this is a highly anticipated match. You have just a hodgepodge of different teams coming together, and that's why it's been so anticipated in EU. These two teams are powerhouses. And it goes to show that, yeah, they can adjust, they can make the plays, and even when everything seems to be going right, they are able to prevail. And I am actually very happy to see a game number 3, because this goes to show how many times can you just kind of reprogram yourself and try to go into a different ban phase or a different pick phase, pick different Pokemon to come out and still make a sound strategy.
Right. So, moving into that though, I do believe we will see another Decidueye, so maybe we should get the knock-knock jokes out of the way here. Alex, knock-knock.
Who's there?
Mayahi.
Mayaho?
Mayaha.
You know, I'd like to again remind people I am not in EU or anywhere else. I am in Southern California, Los Angeles. It is 6:42 in the morning, and I'm already over these jokes.
I have got one more if you want.
I mean, why not? We're
sure,
waiting,
knock,
right?
knock.
Or unless you want to, I don't know if you saw the NA broadcast at all. If you wanted to be able to just pull out a Pokemon card and then I pass it to you, be like, oh, well, pass you, take the card.
No, I wouldn't.
It's like, whoa, hey. But no, feel free, lay it out.
Sure, knock knock.
Who is there?
Yoda lady.
Yodelay. Who?
I didn't know you could yodel.
Production, yes, I would like to reschedule. Yeah, I have to go. You're on your own. I mean, you don't need me around here at all because I'm sure you can handle this on your own and be able to take care of this broadcast. But I know right now, production in the back is just face palming harder than anybody else ever could.
Well, I think we could get like a impromptu like text box that pops up to talk about their thoughts here at some point, but it'd be great.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
But I would still need you, Alex. None of this is possible without my dual partner, you, right? No one. If I knock on the door and nobody's gonna respond, who will we get there? And it's the same with how we have seen the teams of Pepsi Max play it out with their Decidui, right? Even if there's a knock investment, so much of the team is just front-walling this man. Protect the president, as we call it here. And BH3 just does not respect that. They just go in and are telling you, I don't know what bodyguards are. I don't know what bodies are. I only know that there's personal space, and my personal space is global.
I mean, we've been able to see the way that a lot of these teams have been able to do things with like a double defender when it comes to using things like a Decidui, which again is from what I've seen, and I'll admit it, I've probably lost way too much sleep within the past 24 to 48 hours just watching Pokemon unite from different regions. I'm respecting and loving my brethren, my Latino brethren in Latam. I'm watching EU, I'm casting EU, and of course North America. That's my home of where it needs to be. But we can talk about this all day, all night. We're getting into game number 3, BH3. Utah gonna be on one of my favorite Pokemon, seeing Saita go in, cut things down to size. Klaus is gonna be on your orange side with the Mimikyu.
Oh, I have not checked what Cider's voice is. Oh, okay, we're gonna do that later on. As we go into this, though, starting it off a little bit of a change on the roster here. Of course, you have Cider coming in capable. We have Miraidon now changing it up here instead of going in with Leafeon, which is interesting to say the least here because all these are premier Pokemon coming into it. But starting out strong here, Marv with the first stack here. Bruv holding its ground on to the Squirtle this time, which has been fantastic for him across the entire few games that we've seen with Bruv on it.
I mean, having Blastoise has been so powerful, especially now at level 7 getting Surf. And what? I'm sorry.
Yes! It's Scyther!
It is not. Actually, it's not Scyther. You mispronounced it.
Sorry!
It's called a Scizor. You thought it was a Scyther. You might need to get your eyes checked a little bit there. Knock, knock. Who's there? I don't know because Nitera's vision is gone.
It's so awkward to say the name because you don't ever see it often, but okay, cool. Maybe a misinput, but all the same, I'm happy to see the red bug going into the fray and fighting it out here. Of course, the problem is now how are you going to engage in this fight? Because you definitely would have loved a Scyther in this matchup here, but I think the only target you have is Mimikyu if he hasn't jumped to you, or Mew, and maybe I agree in that case Scyther is the better pick.
I mean, Scyther, I think all around is just a better pick. But though I think the way they want to play this, if it wasn't already
Scizor.
a misinput, the Scizor. No, I'm saying that Scyther is a better Pokemon than Scizor. But I think the way they have decided to go with Scizor is the fact that they want to have a little bit more brawl type of. My goodness, that charge beam came out of nowhere. You thought it was coming from Alabama, out of nowhere, down under over in Australia, the way they were shooting it. But they do have a little bit more brawly. But I do like the Scyther. The burst that you get from Scyther is that much more prevalent. But hey, you know what? Who am I to judge? We will see if BH3 did either a misclick or this was the plan all along.
No, yeah, so I agree with what you're saying. I just might have misspoke the name again. But all the same here, the important thing is now we do have a punish coming in from Pepsi Max here onto the Clefable. It got some a little EXP here and 30 seconds on the clock here for the next objectives. We are going to see how they play this out here, but Bruv is not up to the Blastoise here, but we are still short of a Machoke into a Machampion. So let's see if they can get this one level 7 onto Krax here. There's the pickup, level 7 on the clock here, and now it's a question of how they can turn this around.
The Shadow Claw coming out for Mimikyu, though, that's going to cause a lot of rip, a lot of damage, and you also get a good amount of life steal. For those of you that don't know, life steal is basically HP recovery, which means they can kind of provide for themselves, especially once you get to Shadow Claw. Plus, Regieleki is going to be taken by Klaus and the Machoke, and this does create a little bit of pressure. All of a sudden, you got to start asking yourself, was the Scizor the right way to play this out? Klaus is throwing those Shadow Sneaks out. Marv is going to be their tandem partner. Patati is not a level 9. If you had that Machampion Night move, you're talking about a completely different play. But again, Utah going with the Scizor hasn't actually panned out, I think, the way the team wanted to. But we will have to see. We're barely about 4 minutes into the game. this Retsu being on the Miraidon. But look at that surf, able to push the team back. House is able to attach on with the Shadow Sneak. They go into the play with me. That was an expertise. They're almost gonna have their Unite move. Bruv, excellent. Almost level 9, but unable to take in.
There it is.
There we go. Hydro Typhoon, Spinaroonie, take him down. Kranix gets taken down. That's 2 KOs for the Mimikyu. Marv is able to get another KO for themselves, and BH3 might be in trouble.
They needed only 3 Pokemon to pull them back from a 3v5. Somehow, bruv, hitting the level spike, Machamp only coming in really late, and they had an Umbreon who did not use their Unite move to actually hold them back. That is an insane and incredible discipline coming from them, and the amount of CCs that they hit. I mean, if we had a counter for that, you know it's gonna be a highlight.
187 to 55. Team Peps is looking really good with a little extra pep in their step. Sazero is going to go for a little bit of an extra stack there, but they're playing the follow me variant along with the Moonlight. You got to be able to provide a little bit of extra HP, but man, look at Zante shooting these solar beams out. Meanwhile, Sazero doing everything they can to keep them alive. Megu does have the Shadow Sneak attached to them. Zante shooting out the solar beams. The rest of the team is positioning. Meanwhile, Bruv is going to take the time to score in a little bit more. Play with me. Moonlight Prance is going to start the show. Ultra Soul Slam is going to be able to go in. Scizor goes for the red illusion dive. They're trying to make a play themselves. Marvin Patati are in danger. Zante needs to get away. But look who's here. The man of the hour. Bruv with another Typhoon. Holding things down the way they've been able to reset things and hold things down. 2 of their big key pieces are down. But Bruv is using these surfs to get a good amount of shield. But it does look like BH3 is going to come out on top.
I mean, up on top with only 1 KO here, I think that's great all the same here. Team Peps Max just needs to buy a little bit more time for their hard hitters to come in here. That's the first of many going down. Crustle into the Cafable, no supports left. Let's see if they can continue the onslaught here. The cross shot flies in into the Shadow Claw, and now Buzzwole is out for the count as well. No one to contest this Regieleki. It is going to Team Pepsi Max to make a play here, while Bruv basically emotes on them with the recall.
See, this is where things get a little bit nasty here. BH3 was able to make a pretty decent play to try to take down Team Peps, but Bruv was able to answer that call. And next thing you know, Team Peps came right back swinging with a reversal counter themselves. But now you got to kind of look at yourself and be like, well, what does BH3 have? What is their game plan? Because again, the Scizor is going to be in your face, very brawly, but I do think Team Peps has a way to kind of push it back. And Bruv being a key piece here, or level 12, they're trying to converge on him. But look at these shields, the positioning that they're able to do. Marv is here to back them up. That is a mean look, Umbreon. So you can slow things down to a little bit more your pace. It's going to their base. They're trying to go in, the big meteor shower coming in to try to do something. A Moonlight Prance came out, but now it's the Shadow Sneak. House is going to be in a little bit of trouble though, but all the members of Team Peps are here.
Bit by bit, they're slowly going in here. Another Hydro Typhoon investment surf pushing them back all the way here as they go down. That's the slam. Pushing it there. It looks like they got brought finally. And slowly, bit by bit, they're falling though. 2-1 KOs right now here. We are seeing the Shadow Claw onto Rezu here. He's not making it out here. It looks like this future is bleak here as we do see Scizor running away. Utah locked in and KO'd afterwards. Team Pepsi Max taking themselves up for 3 KOs in total here. Moving forward here.
236. 36 remaining. There is no game number 4 or game number 5. But what I do say is both teams have a lot of EXP, double digits across the sky. You got to imagine that right now, Bruv has been a very key piece for the side of Team Peps. 227 to 66. Positioning is going to be very pivotal, as already Zante's just kind of be poking around to get as much EXP and a little bit of damage, and more so get some vision of where the teams are located.
And of course, as they start this off here, we're gonna see how they can really set this up for the Kyogre. And already we're seeing they're so clumped up over there. It's gonna take a lot more positioning for them to actually make a play here. The boost auto comes in here, does it onto Megu. No one is doing anything to check the damage back here. Utah is forcing the Kyogre here. There's the start, there's the pickup here, the surf to push them back here. Solar Beam to damage them up here. Barrage Flow whiffing. Hydro Typhoon hitting it up for 2. And they're gonna start with the Rubber Rouser. There's the damage flying through here. Megu's unable to sustain here with a beam to take them back out. Bruv, another surf to see if he can block his team here. And there it is, the Red Illusion dive. try to take out onto Bruv. Their damage is through. 3 players left on the board here. Mystical Barrage hold them back, but it looks like they need a little bit of healing. They do take them out one at a time here. We lose the Mimikyu, and now there's no one else to go in. One cross shot from Potato here with no barrage blows and a submission to work with here. I don't think he can make anything work at the moment. He has to wait for his team to play around here, but again, losing on to the Umbreon, very crucial. One cross shot is what they need. Potato has to try and find a steal here, but now that he's locked out, damage taken, I think that's the chase. He's going back. Bruv is returning the favor here. The Kyogre's going low, bit by bit here. It's gonna be a beam. There's the pickup. Team Pepsi Max was waiting for the opportunity, and it came with the Mew to secure it. Utah is now chasing his team down onto them. If they cannot stop this, it looks like Team Pepsi Max still has the point lead here. There's the rush. They're going in here, trying to drop the 50. There's the start. Play with me on the Mimikyu here, taking the damage out. We're gonna see and go in. First 100, 166 here, one more 50, and that secures the deal. Clouds going low. There's the pickup onto Mimikyu here. They are slowly barreling down the bot side here. No one to defend us. There's the 100. Bruv returning with the 50 here to equalize the points. Another 50 has to go in right now, Alex.
They have about 10 seconds remaining to go. Now the Bruv has made it their way back. We do see little chips here and there. Big Hydro Typhoon to hold it down. But we do see Megu. Megu might have been able to secure it.
No!
It'll make it for a last hundo point at the buzzer.
Hold on.
We're going to need to go to the scoreboard here, but I do think that hundo might have not been enough, though. Let's go look at the teams, the points, the way. And yes, BH3, Megu at the buzzer, able to get a hundo burger on the tier 1 in the top path. And BH3 walks away as a 2-1 winner against Team PEPS.
Such a close fight. Can you tell me that wasn't convincing at the very end? Like, it was just a back and forth, a trailblaze, and what did you say to me when we started? Most anticipated match for you. We gave our best game to start this off here today, and we still got a few more to work with. Week 1, day 2, looking mighty fine here, and we have so much more to come.
We have so much more to go, but something that I wish we could have grabbed was there was a moment. I don't know if you saw it, and I think, in my opinion, and this is just a caster's eye in the sky, I really wish there is a moment where we saw Bruv. It was at the start of the Kyogre fight, okay? And I don't know if anybody else noticed it. Maybe it's just me, but I think this was a key, kind of like, almost like a punt, if you will. In my opinion, Bruv went in with the Surf, and we saw that they were pushed in the choke of BH3.
Right.
And then we saw Patati use their Unite move, but it whiffed. It didn't land on anybody. I think the logic was Bruv pushes them together, I unite them, and that is a big amount of damage. The barrage blows able to take them down. But unfortunately, Bruv pushed him a little too far, and Patati completely whiffed its Unite move. So I do think that at least in some caliber, still needs to be looked at and studied a little bit extra, because I do think that maybe it was not necessarily the end-all be-all, but a barrage blow after a Surf and then a Hydro Typhoon, that is going to be a lot of damage, and I hope we can kind of, I do believe that's kind of what happened. Again, maybe I'm wrong, and I'm willing to admit when I'm wrong. But when it looked like it, there was a point in which Bruv was able to go in, and there was a barrage blow that kind of whiffed. And actually, I will say, and I'll admit this, I do have Chris Heroes in my peripheral vision. And yes, I am correct. I see the highlight that I was talking about, that Bruv pushed them all, and the barrage blow completely missed.
I want to talk about the first game, which I don't think we'll have a highlight for it, but again, it was down to the wire here. We had Zante on the Decidueye Eye, who just happened to hit a beautiful Spirit Shackle to secure it. But I think more importantly, as we go back to what you just said, right? When Bruv pushed it and, Potato missing the Barrage Blow, what if they just picked up Mega Lucario, threw the Aura Cannon, Power Up Punch in, and just close combat? So much easier. Right. If they didn't ban out Mega Lucario, they would be in a better spot. I'm just saying, could have been Mega Lucario.
Right. I mean, but I'm still talking about the Kyogre fight, how that point in time where the Surf and the Barrage Blow missed, it's not the end all be all, right? Because
that's
Team
fair.
PEPS, like Team PEPS was still able to get the Kyogre, right? They just didn't have the defenses that they needed to make a play. But regardless, that is this. BH3 is able to 2-1 against Team PEPS. Let's take a quick timeout. We will be back with another highly anticipated match. And you know what? I'm feeling generous. I will be telling you that we will be seeing some KOMAI eSport when we return. So don't go anywhere for some more Pokemon Unite action.
Hello, trainers of Aos Island. We're back with game number 2 today here on week 1, day 2 of the league. And which league are we talking about? Of course, it's the Euro Championship League here. My name's Nightera, and of course, next to me we have Zero In on Alex. As we get into this game, it's KOMAI Esports. This was teased by Alex, and of course, Avalanche, who has shown quite a standing yesterday as well. And so these two teams got a lot to work for here. Alex, are you excited to see how this can pan out?
Yeah, absolutely. I know that Team PEPS versus BH3 is an anticipated matchup that we saw just for EU, but personally, I am looking forward to seeing this new KOMAI Esports. Let's not forget that this has parts of the old Nouns Esports. Some of my favorite players, my favorite of EU being Adesu and Ghatlue, both being on this roster. It is a new era for KOMAI, and we saw in the 2025 season how powerful KOMAI was for EU. So to see this updated roster, being able to see what they are able to do with the resources that they have available to them, and again, this new era, mixing in the old with the new. When it comes to KOMAI Esports, you have Gekokami, Ghatlue, Legonas, you have Adesu and Toast. So when you have that roster right there, just alone, Gekokami is playing out of their gourd. You also have players like Ghatlue and Adesu. Do not sleep on Toast or Legonas because they will show up. But it's actually Narami there, Toast, Ghatlue, Gek, and Adesu. But let's get into it. Are we going to see a matchup tonight? It's KOMAI Esports versus Avalanche in game number 1 here for the Unite U Championship Series. It is the Regional League for 2026.
Hey, fun fact, I used to play with Gecko Okami when it used to be not region lock for your teams. That was a long time ago. It looked like this, alright? Two OCE players, Southeast Asian player, there's Gecko Kami, and we had an NA player. So we had like all the regions in that team.
And we see Tosh is already getting invaded by this Snorlax. That's Quinto there, who's just trying to take the buff away. And I think they are going to be able to get away with it. Rowlet's not even going to bother. Meanwhile, we saw Ghatlue try to invade the enemy team to try to take as much resources as it could, but unable to do so. So I know right now KOMAI Esports is a household name, but meanwhile, Avalanche wants to make a name of their own.
Hey, if they want to make something happen here, it's gonna have to be a landslide victory against KOMAI Esports here to show that they have the dominance, they have the power and strength to turn it around here. And right now, it is not looking too good as 3 on the side of KOMAI trying to stop the Avalanche from happening.
Right, you have Adesu going in, getting a score, and they get pushed back a little bit. Gecko Kami bringing out the Rock Tomb to help Adesu get away. Toast was able to get some extra EXP. They're already level 5. Nax, you have they're going in Oni, and they're just scoring on Narami, who's unable to slow this down.
Starting off a little bit rough here to start, but as we see the scoreline here at 30-44, they are starting it off here. Adesu, I do believe, has a stack or 2 in his name, but otherwise here, the scoreline is looking pretty even here. Narami a little bit off position here. Ghatlue not wanting to help his feathered friend here, just waiting for an opportunity to level to 7 before he does anything, and right now, it looks like it is going to be even levels across the board, with KOMAI on level 5's average, and the other side here, all slowly spiking to the 6 before the other team.
It looks like Ghatlue's going to be able to go in. They go in with the acrobatics with Narami there. Oni's going to be in a little bit of trouble, taking a lot of damage, but no. Luckily, Buzzwole was there to kind of help them out. Ghatlue's going to find themselves in a little bit of trouble. They need to be able to get out, but Quinto is looking for them, and they're just trying to get away. Nax has made their way there. They're trying to acrobatics. They get the Citrus Berry, but they're just kind of trying to stall things out, but end all be all, they missed the Shadow Sneak, and Ghatlue just flocking around, just surviving to create themselves at least as a distraction, and they're still going. Ghatlue is still surviving, and
you
they finally
said
get
too
shut
much.
down. You gotta imagine though. You gotta admit though, that was pretty impressive.
It was. But to one feather friend to another, Toast is doing a much more fantastic job taking himself up and posturing himself to a level 9 soon. So right now, it's gonna come down to see how they play on the bot side as well to control space here at 7-minute mark hits in. Starting it off strong, Quinto onto the heavy slam here as Yakokami locks onto Joxo, and it's gonna be a tough one for them here as they only have 2 Pokemon on their team. It looks like the split is going to be on Avalanche's favor here, going to the bottom side with the Registeel. Crucial Pokemon and crucial buff.
crucial buff indeed, because you get that extra damage, you get that shield. It's all around the best Reggie, arguably. Desu's just kind of holding things down in the top path. Meanwhile, you do have Toast, and we do see Ghatlue's going to be able to go on in, land a little bit to get away. Narami's there, KOMAI, and a Spirit Shackle to boot. The question is, do they have the horses in the barn to be able to make a push? And they're going to fight for another day.
Right, let's take a look. Starting it out strong here. The Fly just a little shy off. I think he wants to back away, which is a good call here. Narami again denied and not being helped by his feather friends. And suddenly this position switch. Ghatlue is the one who needs the help here. And of course, this bird, unfortunately, looks like he's got to back away, waiting for his team here. Quento looking for opportunity here. That's the pick up onto Oni as he tries to fight away with his team here right now. The damage is flying onto Quento. They lock him out. I think this is the pickup. There it is. The bird has shown its marks here. And the Spirit Shackle lands.
Ooh, Spirit Shackle lands indeed. This could be a big moment. We see the Sai come out to hold them back. They get pushed back. Mega Evolution is on the board. Points are raining in. Desu is at Mega Mewtwo X form. They're going in. KOMAI was able to use the Rubber Rouser to try to start a little bit of a push. But again, Desu was a little bit too low. You don't want to go in, especially when Buzzle's right there, who can toss you around, throw you up against the wall. And next thing you know, you're taking out Flame Sweep though for Ghatlue to try to get away, but the Play With Me shuts it down.
Starting it off here though, Regieleki is going into a very good spot for the side. KOMAI here, they've got the first one. KOMAI waiting for opportunity to turn themselves back into this, as they do have the fanciful fireworks to kind of slowly chip away at Regieleki here. It looks like Toast and Gek are going to start this up. Desu positioning himself to see if he can take a pick onto Suicune here, but looks like there's no pickup here. As I say that, Next walks in just in range here. Desu starting it off with the 13 to drop to the 9, and I do believe that's a 40 coming in very soon.
That is a big impact here. You get 35, though, from
Close.
the Decidueye. They want to get their stacks, so those Spirit Shackles hurt a little bit more. Desu able to go on in. Shadow Sneak goes there, and they're able to converge and take that Mimikyu down. Ghatlue was there to back up their old pal, Desu.
Ooh, and here it is. Bit by bit, they're slowly inching their way back to the bottom here. Regieleki was once taken, and now we're going to see which of the brothers are spawned and ready to go. Quento, first one to get the tick off of damage here, as we do see looking very low. Infinite Cyber almost picking it up, but we do pick it up onto the Decidueye here. And now KOMAI has to take a more aggressive approach here. They need to take as much as they can. First one, Quento coming in, Oni stuck in the corner here, and this Mimikyu has no more play time, as we do see the Super Soul Slam to return the favor onto Desu here. It looks like the Sai to mitigate damage is coming through, but not enough here, as KOMAI is taking a lot of damage, but not without the help of Ghatlue, who turns the tide for his team. And here it is. The slam back onto Quento is not going to happen. It looks like I need to back away, and right now it's looking very even across the board. Trades are being dealt here, but it looks like KOMAI Esports has a little bit of HP deficit moving into this fight.
Luckily, Ghatlue's able to get out of the way. Toast was actually quite literally cooked and toasted by the fanciful fireworks, so that's why they didn't have that extra little bit of oomph to be able to push on. But I will say, KOMAI Esports is now leading. We're about a minute and a half away from Kyogre spawning, but 214 to 80. Right now, everything is going really well for KOMAI. Their defense is good. Their offense has been spectacular. So it's about time that they've been able to lock this down. Desu using Mewtwo X. And that's the thing about Desu. They are a flex player. You need a support, they'll do it. They need an all-arounder, they'll do it. They need an attacker, he will do it. Because at the end of the day, Desu's just trying to be a team player, as the fanciful fireworks starts the show for Regieleki.
Unfortunately, if you need a win in the game, you still need a team. And so right now, it's going to come down to how they play this out here. And I do see a lot more teamwork coming for Avalanche here onto the Regieleki than the entire side KOMAI, who has not positioned themselves. But I'll be speaking a little bit too soon here, as Quento does take a KO down there, and now Avalanche is in a weird spot without a tank.
Honestly, not having a tank means they got to roll on back.
Just
Oni's
like that.
taking a little bit of damage. Oni is getting
Second
pushed
one.
up against the wall, and Toast shoots that Spirit Shackle in. The mark is on. They're able to take the blue buff away. We do see Snorlax finally made it back, but they're just level 9. This is where you start looking at your team, and you realize Suicune and Snorlax are only level 9, and it's already time for Kyogre.
Ooh, and right now, if we look at the score here, 214 to 100. It is only a 100-point lead, but the problem is that levels-wise, I mean, let's say if Ghatlue decides to fight Quento on his own again, I think we all know how the result of 2-level difference is going to make. So, starting it off strong, they're going to need to play a little slower. They do find them onto a buzzwole here. A 50-point from Ghatlue was going to get scored, but I like how they're positioned. Narami's waiting to help his feathered friend here. A little bit flightless, but, you know, Ghatlue has the flying part covered.
Yeah, Oni needs to be able to get away. Look at these spirit shackles coming out from Toast. They keep finding their mark to do massive amounts of damage. Meanwhile, Narami's just kind of giving that little extra bit of vision. Nax was very low, and I think Narami wanted to get this, but look at the way Narami's able to just kind of go toe-to-toe with this. Nobody's really paying attention to Kyogre. That's not the priority for anybody. Meanwhile, Gecko Kami is providing vision, being able to give as much view of where the enemy team is at any given time.
I mean, the thing is, as they continue to take this fight here, it's obvious that KOMAI Esports is going to win here, and so they need to take as much as they can. A nice Super Soul Slam here, unfortunately no pickups onto the Decidueye here, they lose one, and the Endless Ice Spikes coming in through, Flame Sweep, there it is, the damage is flying through, and they finally get themselves one. Ghatlue, like you said, was just so annoying just now, and he's doing the same thing again. Low HP, able to make it off, the 50-point, there's no one that is respawning now. This is the dunk they need for 314, plus a pickup onto Suicune here, not so legendary after that. Power Nap is invested here, and the Desu just went Mega. I think the Snorlax is gonna be going to sleep for a little bit longer if he has no way out of this.
Great job to be able to use this block, but Gecko Kami and Ghatlue are here. We do see Snorlax kind of looming within. Uses the heavy slam a little bit too early, though. There we go. The final Spirit Shackle is in. Avalanche gets just completely snowed in by the side of KOMAI Esports. And at the end of the day, with game number 1 on the line, that Decidueye made sure that Avalanche stayed toast.
I don't know. That didn't really roll off the tongue here, you know. Gave them a little bit of the cold shoulder on this one, I feel. As KOMAI had 2 Regis to their name as well. Avalanche didn't really have a lot of space to move around here. In fact, you could even say they are Titanic hitting the iceberg. A sinking ship.
One's an iceberg, one is snow. But I think I know what you're getting at.
We're somewhere.
I see the train of thought, but the train of thought was into a tunnel that did not make sense. But what does make sense is KOMAI Esports being back on top, being able to be as dominant as they were. And again, we're seeing once again, Decidueye is showing up in EU and performing really well, especially when you have team members like Gecko Kami and Narami not only giving you vision, but also giving you protection to make sure nobody can get close to you, especially when even if they do, a Desu's right there to pull them away from you, the teleport with the future side pulling them away. Nobody was able to actually really do much for the side of Team Avalanche. I definitely think this is one of those moments where you got to be able to look at your team, what went well, what didn't go well, and adjust accordingly. This wasn't the most heavy hitting match, but honestly, KOMAI was in the driver's seat the entire time.
Well, that's the thing, right? When you talk about let's review our games, what did we do good, what did we do bad? I don't really feel like they did good or bad because number one, like you said, KOMAI was in the driver's seat. There's not a lot of places they could have made mistakes just because they were that strong. And on the other hand, it's not like they had opportunities to do good as well because KOMAI was on the driver's seat. So I would say this is one of the times where I would feel really in a rough spot here as Avalanche because I don't know where we went right or what we did wrong. We were just so weak. And if you want to take that as the learning lesson, I guess farm out more, but that's the same as saying play better.
No, I would actually argue and disagree. First and foremost, I would say number one, can we just take a moment to say Shivam out here is I'd like to again.
There's my replay.
You want to talk about behind the scenes? I'm about to give you a behind the scenes look. There is one person right now, Shivam, holding the fort down for production as this is an off-stream, unofficial, stream. But they are handling everything, cams, production, and replays. But the reason I was going to disagree with you is we saw this in teams in NA. We saw where a team, I'm not going to name names, if you saw, where level distribution was not at their forefront. So it's not about playing better, it's about taking the resources that you have and being able to use them. Again, I'm trying, if you saw, you saw, but there was a point of a team yesterday in North America where they were less than a minute away from Kyogre and they still had a level 8 Piloswine. Not because they were needed to play better, but because they weren't allocating the resources that they had available to their team. So when you look at it, it goes to show that, yes, you do need to play better, but it's much deeper than that. It's the fact that you have resources available for you, especially if you're getting stomped on, there's going to be a lot more experience. You then need to delegate it. And I think we saw a little bit of here. We saw that Avalanche near the end had 2 level 9s, and those were their tanks. Their big beaters that are going to be there to soak up a lot of damage aren't going to be able to soak up as much when there's just that big of a level difference. In regular Pokemon games, 1 or 2 level difference doesn't mean much. But in Pokemon Unite, 2 to 3 can be the difference between you being able to survive a hit and just being absolutely taken out.
Fair enough, you know. I mean, there's a reason why some of us like to say this, but I'm a washed-up player. That's why I'm here on the desk. I don't know what I'm talking about sometimes, and maybe that's why I need insights from someone who actually plays the game a little bit more than I do, which is fair because my propaganda is behind my screen. But otherwise, I still feel that at the end of the day, you might be right here, and if the levels are not making a difference here, it could be attributed to somewhere else. So let's see if maybe a team competition could be the difference maker here. Pokemons that can dish out the damage while staying alive just a little bit longer may be the difference maker here, and I'm gonna call it now. Maybe pick up a Mega Lucario, or I know I said this a lot of times, Alex, trust me on this, alright? This strategy works 100% of the time. If you get one pick onto someone, it'll be a 4v5, and so you should pick Delmise if they get the one hook.
I do think Delmise is really good, and
oh my. Can we have a photo up?
Again, taking you behind the scenes, Shivam has an entire setup. I see 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 screens.
Yes, one screen
production crew. Shivam, you are a superstar, and this is why. Again, I've said this before. I love working with Shivam. Love this production team because oh my, the amount of value that we are seeing right here is out of this world.
It is.
Shout out to production. But moving forward now, KOMAI is looking really good. They got to keep that momentum going. Keep Avalanche on Bray, and I can only imagine you would at least be interested in seeing a Mega Lucario. I don't know if it's even a Pokemon you enjoy watching at all in any way, shape, or form, or just regular Lucario. I would never guess. I look at you. I'm looking at your camera right now, and like I'm getting maybe
yeah,
like
maybe.
Mega Lucario. I don't know though. I don't know.
Is
I
it the
wish there was
Gengar?
a way to tell.
Is it because of the Gengar?
I'm getting
Like,
ghosty
over here?
vibes. I'm getting ghosty vibes. Maybe.
There's a Gengar here. Is this why?
Yeah, I think that is the reason you are. I'm getting Gengar vibes. Maybe you want to see a Gengar pop off, which I don't blame you. They're fun to watch, but maybe a little bit of Lucario somewhere. There's something about you that speaks. I want to see Lucario, but I want to see KOMAI Esports come out swinging again. We saw Ghatlue being such a menace. Not only we've seen it when they play things like Greedent, but even with Talonflame, the skill level that they were able to use to avoid damage and then use the resources to be just an annoyance. Yeah, that's a top tier player.
I mean, I agree 100% as we go into this here. And I mean, aside from Lucario, I think definitely a lot of Pokemon can be locked in. Maybe one thing like you said was maybe if we could give them a better scenario that levels don't make a difference. I think Metagross does that so well, right? If your team or your opponents are so strong that they're willing to bunch up together, Metagross Compute and Crash becomes one of the best Unite moves to lock them in place to take a bunch of damage for free because they can't escape. And if they do escape, I mean, how much resources are they burning for that, you know?
Right.
So, maybe Metagross, maybe. Is that what you're thinking of? You know, another metal type Pokemon? Sorry, steel type Pokemon. Don't quote me on that.
I think Metagross is an interesting pick. I don't know if it's necessarily a primary pick that I would go with, but I see the logic behind it. It acts like a pseudo defender. It is an all-arounder, but can play a little bit like a defender because of how bulky it is. How it's able to not only go in and use the compute and crush, but the fact that they're able to also get a lot of shields. And as we saw in KOMAI Esports, the way they were able to use the Decidueye, they always had protection. They always had somebody at their forefront. Kami was the #1, but Adesu was also there, not as a defender, but as an all-arounder to just pull things away. So, you know, going into game number 2, KOMAI Esports not only dominated things like scoring, but they also dominated in terms of positioning and defense. So all in all, I think they did a really great job. Avalanche has some work to do, and more importantly, use the resources that they still have available, because even when things are looking bad, you can take a bad situation, try to farm up, and try to find a pick. That's going to be the end-all be-all, finding a pick.
I'm sorry, I'm looking at Chris Hero's stream and wow, damn, really selling it. Chris, what the heck, man?
Well, you see, when they say what the duck, well, he took it seriously. They are over there messing with the ducks. It's not just a yellow baby duck, it's a humanoid looking duck. But honestly, little baby ducklings is probably what Psyduck is. So you know what? If I can say what the duck, Chris, you have been caught. What the duck are you doing?
Yes, exactly. What the duck? Literally, what the duck? You know what? Whatever. More importantly, here, as you know, Chris be the hero of the offline stream, we've got the offline matches coming through, and the more important thing is how are they gonna start this off here. Ghatlue has been a mainstay here in terms of buying time for his team. Maybe it's time to buy time for the team by distracting them and taking KOs for himself here. Ghatlue starting it off, picking off the bug type here, flying types being super effective, while Narami slowly starts stacking in.
I like the stacks that they're going in for this Umbreon. Being able to have that extra little bit of bulk is going to be very pivotal, and just having them in general. Oni did decide to go on in a little bit early because you can when it comes to Leafeon. So when you look at things as a whole, Leafeon is trying to get some advantage. The problem is they're unable to do so. Adesu might be a little caught a little early, but nobody wants to commit, especially with now Avalanche being able to take away the Crustle, who's going to bring in the hustle, but Kami going with an old favorite on Slowbro.
Yeah, and right now the score line still looking a little bit different, but again, lead still going to KOMAI early on here, who still is short of 1 level to be a little bit of a bigger bird here. It's going to be Ghatlue. Turning it around though, Narami on the wrong side of the map is happily scoring his life out.
Yeah, Kami, look at the way they were able to score things out, but Oni's on the toast. Nobody's here to be able to catch them up. Oni's going to have that extra little bit of burst, able to take them down, and that's the thing. Leafeon is a really good counter into Decidueye. Their movement speed is incredible, especially right now when they're about to take into level 6. They're going to have access to Aerial Ace, so you get 2 dashes and being able to burst onto Decidueye. I know Decidueyes hate to see me coming with these little brown paws.
Right, and already starting it off here, 25-44. The score line is a little bit better right now, as we do see KOMAI closing the gap to a 43 and dishing the damage here. And Avalanche just not in the right position for that. Ghatlue taking so much damage here is going to get caught up with Oni, which just says hello, bye-bye, and there it is. A sharp leaf do cut them all.
Man, oh man, they're trying to go all in. Adesu trying to push, and we do have Toast, who does have the Spirit Shackle available to them, but they're just kind of poking around. 56-54, a little bit closer this time around for the side of KOMAI, but this is kind of the way KOMAI plays. We saw this in game number 1. They play a little slow to start, and then eventually they start ramping it up. Adesu does have the teleport to be able to get away.
And this is going to be a great start. Now that they have the Decidueye online here with the Spirit Shackle, especially since they're going to 7 minutes here, they've got the objective spawning. Let's check up the attic and the basement to see what the distribution is here. But starting it off, Kami and the side of Desu trying to go out with his team. Emerald 2-step not picking up onto the Decidueye. And right now, Toast is not toasted just yet.
They are going in. Ghatlue's going to be able to take on to the Registeel. And meanwhile, they have Narami sticking together, trying to take all the EXP. But you do have Buzzwole kind of lurking there. And it's not looking the greatest. Registeel is going to be free for the taking for the side of KOMAI.
already. This is a great start for KOMAI, having a attack and special attack buff as well. Reggie Lackey on the bottom side here, also prioritized by KOMAI and postured to be taken out, which means Avalanche, not a landslide victory, but a landslide of deficits across the board here, as Quento does get slowly nicked to pieces, and this crab looks like it's gonna be sent to the Pokemon Center. I had to open my mouth.
Well, they do luckily survive thanks to the Nax on the Eldegoss, but Regieleki does find its home. Gecko Kami and Toast are working together to see how much they can score on in. Ghatlue does have the most, but now Toast does as well. Adesu holding the fort down to low. Avalanche does have things available to them. They push Adesu away, and they're going to get a little bit of a score, 138 to 116. Avalanche has finally decided to wake up a little bit here. Adesu does Mega Evolve. Leafeon was able to be there. Meanwhile, they're going to try to have a little bit of extra, but we see the Psychic Solaire. Ghatlue might be in danger here. They go for the Flame Sweep, and they are unable to get the KO, but they're still looking for Jutsu, and they're able to get the KO.
This is what I want to see from Ghatlue from the last game. If he has taken more KOs at the time, he's also stalling, their ability to get EXP. There's so much they're getting from it. Emerald Suicide does get involved in here, and they do lose out a Unite move onto this Leafeon, but look at that. They still make it out with so much damage and still HP to spare. This is crazy.
Yeah, and look at Oni, they get pulled in, and the
Come on!
The map Toast was able to leave them nice, hot, and cooked up a toast, because my oh my, that Spirit Shackle came from way deep. But now look at KOMAI. They're starting to gain their traction. 216 to 138. Everything that Avalanche throws at them, they're able to just punch back twice and try to take over the score, and KOMAI has been aggressive with this strategy.
Alright, and there's a start coming into it. Damage taken, Quento is out. I mean, it's a 1v4 here. I don't really feel like this cotton bud could have done much to change the game. Simon comes out here. We do see Ghatlue taking a little bit of damage here. Once bitten, twice shy here. Goes back to the pad, see if he can help. But again, no fear from this bird. Trying for it. The Flame Sweep is involved, and he just dodges it away.
Oni was unable to be taken out. They were able to survive and live. And meanwhile, Adesu's deep into the flux zone. Regieleki's going to be free for the taking. Ghatlue and Narami have already made their way downtown south to be able to try to stall things out. They do know Buzzwell's here. They're going to go for already the superpower. Moonlight Prance leaves them a little bit stunned. They don't have a little bit of back up. Here comes the Ultra Swole Slam, and they get taken now. Ghalue's going to have to now play a little bit more defense. And without the Unite move, defense becomes a little bit more difficult. But here comes Gecko Kami with a slow beam to be able to lock them down, and Ghatlue unable to make it in time, but the rest of KOMAI able to push Avalanche back, and they are not going to be able to take advantage of this Regieleki.
So, noted with thanks here, Avalanche does get Regieleki onto the board, but again, the level deficit here is just so major, because KOMAI might be a little bit lower in terms of their highest pick, but across the board, they are slowly and surely securing the level 11s here. On the other side, Avalanche has not a lot of power spikes across the board. They have one good Pokemon, and if that Pokemon doesn't take any KOs, that's that, right? There's nothing else you can do about it.
Right, no, they're unable to do really much with it. Gecko Kami, though, is already level 11, meaning they do have Surf Plus. I talked about this before when it comes to Slowbro. Having that extra bit to be able to stun is just so pivotal. And same thing with Mewtwo. Reaching its power spike of having level 13 means it's available. Both of its plus moves only going to be able to call those back. Gatlue's going to be in a little bit of trouble, but luckily Adesu is here to back their partner up. Pull him in, take some damage. Oni's going to go down to the future side, but Narami says, no, I will finish the job.
And this is a great start moving into it. 2 minutes on the clock here. Let's see how they want to turn this around. I'm not very sure how this is going to pan out across here. They have the levels advantage now. KOMAI Esports has 2 Registeels they've worked off with, and they're gonna get a pick onto Boswell potentially here, right? And that's the first pick up here. Gekami slowly making his way up, Boswell taking it down, Psychic Slower to invest here, and now they've got the Fly and the Calling Card Crash invested out. 2 Pokemon down for the count here, 3 onto Espeon, and now the 3rd and 4th one going to be Quento after the Moonlight Prance investment, which means now it is time for them to snowball this lead here by finishing off onto Kyogre. But no, Oni!
Oni able to stay alive. They're going to go for the score, realizing that this Kyogre is just not going to be worth it. Man, KOMAI started that fight so early, and they waited for all their assets to come into play. 309 to 212. Avalanche is behind. Their defense might need to be something, but man, look at Ghatlue, the way they waited, the slow beam, and right now KOMAI is more than just a boulder. There is a cold front. They themselves are avalanching themselves onto Team Avalanches. They're just getting shoved, pushed away. 1 minute remaining. Ghatlue able to get a KO. Stored power Espeon. Very interesting choice to try to have that movement. But movement or not, the movement is KOMAI Esports. They are the movement. They are the prowess. And they are definitely going to be coming out the winners of this set. KOMAI Esports just staying on top.
Right now, I guess, what else can you say? But is there a way they can improve on this? I think this game has a lot more to work with here, as Avalanche does have a little bit more leeway to play around the map this time as compared to before here, but they just weren't really making it out with a lot. Even though they had a really strong lead here, the rest of the team just couldn't back it up here.
Yeah, the rest of the team was unable to be here. Look at Toast just putting on the sprinklers, putting on a clinic. They have been spinnerooning. I'm sorry,
Did Toast just
did you
360?
do a 360 no scope?
Yo, we zoom in on that
big
later.
Year of the 26th. Did I just see? Not only did they helicopter with their Unite move, but they just did a 360 into a Spirit Shackle in the big year of 26. Wow.
Okay, someone's gonna make an MLG compilation, right?
Can we get an MLG compilation going? Like, oh, baby, you triple, because my, oh, my, KOMAI is here to play the game. And let me tell you, there are no ducks here to be talked about. Chris, I'm talking about you.
All right, and I mean, if we're gonna look at this, right? So far today, we have seen 4 games in total, of which all of them has a Decidueye in them. Score line now is 75% win rate on a Decidueye if we talk about purely games alone. But if we're talking about wins across matches, 2 matches played today, of course attributing into Decidueye winning in them. So,
right,
what does this mean? And very simply, Inteleon just sucks. Okay, end of story. Just pick Decidueye. Good one, good one.
Again, I think right now, Inteleon and Decidueye are both very valuable because in NA, Inteleon liquidation was used and it was so powerful. So that's the thing that makes Pokemon Unite such an interesting game, especially right now in terms of the competitive scene. There are so many Pokemon that are still viable that each region tends to favor one Pokemon over another. I do know EU loves Decidueye. NA has been using a lot more Inteleon and no Decidueye. Chris Heroes loves Psyduck so much, and platypuses, I don't really know. I don't know what's going on over there, but what I do know going on is KOMAI is able to get a 2-0 clean sweep against Avalanche. So every region has their Pokemon and their favorites. So when it comes down to it, you got to be able to play to your strengths.
I don't know. I'm just hoping that when we go back to the caster screen, my face is not on the right side again, because I think that's like the memeable side. That's a problem. You know, I'm concerned with the duck and the platypus that he's like talking about. Alex, what's your take? Platypus, duck?
I am definitely going to be Team Little Duck. That is where I will stay, and that is where I'll be.
Is Lucario platypus?
No, it's an Anubis. It's a dog.
So closer to a duck.
No, I said dog. Dog.
Yeah, but a dog is closer to a duck or a plat. You know what? Never mind. What matters now is that we have a 2-0 on the board. KOMAI Esports taking his home. Let's go back into a short break as we take a look later on into our next game. Do you want to give us a hint, though, on what we have in mind?
Well, it is a team that we have seen time and time again. We're going to be seeing a team that's kind of entered the UCS fray. I will drop a little bit. Get ready to engage into our set number 3. So don't go anywhere. We have some more Pokemon UCS 2026 Regional League coming up after this. I'm opening. Welcome back to the UCS 2026 Regional League, and all good things must come to an end. And what are we looking at here? As I was going to say, we're going to engage into our last match, but we have J'aime le Poulet, but we also have what I can only imagine is wow, okay, well,
Would
you
you like
know,
me? Would you like me to say it?
you know, have fun. You know what? You take the floor because
Yes.
goodness.
Yes, I've been converted as a fan of Chris Hero. So first of all, let's welcome back, of course, the audience of Island and of course Chris Hero's friends. It's beautiful. I mean, I feel like today I might not be he might not follow me on Twitter anymore, but let's leave it as that for this round. What's important here is that Hiyori will be in your central area, on the other side, Traffy on right and true Absol as well.
You know, we came to cast UCS, but this might as well be Unite Chris Hero season because the way we have been able to integrate them is out of this world. But here we go. Like you said, we're sending Ratsu, this little Cinderace, into the bottom path, while Absol is going to be into the central path, while Torchic is going to take their central area to become a Combusken.
And well, that's a great start moving into it. Level 5 now reached. Traffy's already done and ready to go here. We almost had Sliced Duck and Penguin here today. Nice delicacies to the side of Engage here, but GM Poulet, I think they're more into a bird. I believe I like chicken. That's their name.
Yeah, J'aime le Poulet basically stands or translates directly to I like chicken. Here comes Traffy heading a big pursuit onto them. Aslan needs to try to get a little bit away, but they're going to be hit by another pursuit as Hiyori's going to try to take some of these birds of a feather that flock together to get a little bit of extra EXP.
Really liking how GM Poulet is actually holding their ground here, even though they're a little bit on the level deficit. But they also do have the one hook. So let's just see how this one pans out here. If observers can just move on to the bottom and just hold on to Delmice for the rest of the game, that'd be great.
Also, let's settle this
Level
argument
5.
once and for all that penguins are birds, Psyduck is a bird. You don't need to have feathers.
So platypus is
to be
a bird. So platypus is a bird.
I mean, it's a mammal, but I don't think it's a bird.
It's a flightless bird.
Oh my god.
All
Get
right,
me out of here, production.
Yes, I mean, Chris Hero must be right on something if he's like pulling it off. But as we move into it here, one thing's for sure is that Delmice, while it's a good pick here, you cannot stand alone. Eject button to pull them off here. They do take a citrus berry here, while Red's just sitting down there, happily waiting for an opportunity here. One hook, one dream. That's going to be how the game goes. 21 to 6, 7 points going into GM Le Poulet. Yes, I stuck that in.
I can't believe we, in the big year of 26, we were able to get 6-7, but Regidrago is going to be taken by the Mewtwo there, but now Traffy's going to be able to go on in, get the pursuit, get the KO. That's a good pick for the side of J'aime le Poulet, and they also have Qatar, who's able to be a Blastoise. Volto just trying to hold things down on the top by their lonesome self. Birds are about to spawn on in, but here comes Greg to try to do a little bit what they can with the little duck. Now they see Hiyori is chasing down. Traffy gets taken down. Big Overheat is being charged up. They get knocked in, and oh my god, this poor little anchor is sitting there by their lonesome. And now look at this Cinderace. Ratsu able to try to push them away.
And this is a great start moving into it here. So let's take a look while the objectives are still up. The scoreline now is 21 to 6, 7. Moving into that here, we have J'aime le Poulet holding on the ground for Regilecki, and the top side also prioritizing by J'aime le Poulet, but still needs a few more members to kind of help out here. Basically, an overheat. There's the pickup. Not enough though, as we do see Retsu picking up the one hook. No, did not hit the hook, unfortunately. But the side teams are just waiting for opportunity. Blastoise on his own on the top side, getting onto Reggie Steel here as Qatar see if he can make a headway for his team to push that level 9 for Hydro Typhoon.
Hydro Typhoon is going to be very pivotal here. J'aime le Poulet does have a little bit of a lead here. Qatar's been able to handle this Registeel by their lonesome. Nobody's even bothering them. That's a little extra damage boost. And we see Ratsu here throwing out the Pyro Balls. And the one hook! Able to snipe them away. Great job by the side of J'aime le Poulet.
A beautiful one hook to pull in the Blaziken here to take a KO, the most crucial KO, because Overheat was such a detrimental move to the side of J'aime le Poulet crowding together. And that is the power of the one hook. And as they started off here again, looks like we have Suicune level 9 waiting for opportunity to burn the endless ice spikes onto the enemy team here, as Engage has to disengage from the fight.
Yeah, I mean, Team Engage is not looking the strongest day in here. It's 213 to 21. Traffy has already made their way uptown here to try to slow them down a little bit. 41 to 213. J'aime le Poulet just kind of has everything going for them. The Pyro Balls, it just does so much damage. I truly believe it's an underrated move that people don't use, and I'm sorry. We saw the Penguin just kind of glide away. They were aiming for Cinderace, but they were able to unfortunately miss their Unite move. Now Volto's all alone and they get knocked down.
Well, Flightless Birds did not know how to run, only has a fight response. And well, you can see how that's not a good thing at times. Moving on to that though, 20 seconds on the bottom side here. The basement is going to be spawned out with the Regieleki in just a bit here, but Qatar wants to make some headways with the point lead here. 234 now. We're going to see if he can take a load here, and Qatar is just going to buy time for his team. All alone, lost in his woods.
I mean, you're able to do it, especially when you have your Unite move on Hydro Typhoon, and the way he's just been able to just kind of push Volto away, be a distraction up against 3. So this could be a big moment here, because that gives J'aime le Poulet a just a free 99 to be able to take the Regieleki for themselves.
Great start moving into it though. 8 seconds on the clock onto the attic here. We are going to see which of the Reggie brothers have spawned in, and we'll see what they can do. Positioning though is very aggressive coming from Greg, as well as the side we have our tier old Delmice here. It's going to be one hook and a dream again.
One hook and a dream. 234 to 107. 2 minutes remain before Kyogre comes up. Again, the new rule this season is that Kyogre will always be the first map to be able to come on up. Meanwhile, though, you have J'aime le Poulet just able to take away this Cinderace, rip it apart. The Pyro Ball is able to be so good into the rip.
Right, hold on. They just need to wait a little bit of time here to get ready another hook. They do pull the Blastoise out. Qatar does not have Hydro Typhoon. Remember that he burned it out. One hook, that's it. On the crossbow, they have the Rubber Rousel. They burn it out. Unite move. A little bit of a weird spot here. The Sovereign Spy. Midnight Slash investment. No damage being done, unfortunately, here. And look, the entire style J'aime le Poulet falling down bit by bit here as we do see Resu coming in. Damage is still looking low. Not enough to take a KO.
Engage is trying to engage and make a lot of plays here. They finally have been able to kind of create a little bit of a break in the gap, because now they're looking at a 203 to 234, only about a 30 score difference between these two teams. There is going to be one more Regieleki available for everybody on the map. They do have about 30 seconds to be able to take it off and use it to their advantage. But all of a sudden, everything was going J'aime le Poulet's way, aka I like chicken, yum, yum, yum. That is what I'm saying. But Engage has been able to kind of close the gap and close in on J'aime le Poulet.
And this is going to be a great opportunity for them to start off the Regieleki again. Once again, J'aime Poulet is in a great spot with 4 members coming in to stand by. Well, of course, Absol, Traffy, just farming it up, waiting for an opportunity to see if he can join his team up again. Let's look at the resources they have now. 203 to 234 in terms of scores. J'aime le Poulet is leading in terms of levels as well. Across the board, very stable. On the other side, Engage pushing on to 11s now. So it's a little bit dicey on the side for J'aime le Poulet, who has one missing power spike in the Delmice, not hitting level 11.
Yeah, I mean, you see the way that Regieleki just walked in. They do not care. They do have an interesting position, though, having Hiyori there. Meanwhile, Traffy's going to try to take advantage of this. We do see the side that gets pulled in. A big overheat does come on out. It's time to engage all the way. Hook misses all line and sinker, but now they're going to need to be able to retreat.
I mean, it's a great shot here, but moving into the Kyogre here. Let's see if we can get a Kyogre on the board, but otherwise, it looks like Traffy's going to back out for his team. One who comes in here, there's no Rubber Rousel investment, and there's a great start moving into it. Level 11, they got the freeze. Not enough to take the KO, unfortunate. A great one hook for his team, but J'aime le Poulet could not capitalize on it. Another hook coming in, close, steady and sturdy. Aslan looking low, don't want to stay there anymore.
They go in, they take a little bit here. Hiyori, though, just controlling everything. J'aime le Poulet does still have control of the map, so they are also taking the score lead. Right now, you have Suicune just kind of going on in to kind of scope things out a little bit. Traffy wanted to go for a little bit of a score, but realizes that the rest of the team is going to need to lead them there.
There's the damage coming through again. Rubber Rousel in the eject button as well for the stun. Beautifully done here, but on the side, Qatar very knocked out of position here. He's going to be taking a big KO. Hydro Typhoon invest. There's the hook coming in, flying in. They do manage to pick themselves out a great position here, but losing onto Suicune, that's a bad call. All the same, did not invest into it very well here. They lose 3 of the damage dealers, and it's now left to Dhelmise and Blastoise to try and make a play here. They're going to start it off strong here. Greg looking low. Mewtwo not very strong as well. HP's not in their favor. He's wide. He doesn't have defense. They do take out the Psyduck now. This Platypus is out for the count. Surf comes in, no damage taken. Katar is trying to make some headways. The Anchor comes in, has no way to jump across right now. Has to wait for an opportunity here as Kyogre slowly picks it up. There is the hook, does not pick it up. Sovereign's Light coming in here. They have the damage. Kyogre looking very low, bit by bit. It's gonna be one Anchor and a Dream. There's the pickup, there's Slide, and Suicune comes in sweeping it through here. And this Penguin, again, no flight remaining, is gonna drop down. And there it is. GM Poulet finishing it off with a strong Kyogre finish.
That is how you do it. Mewtwo's gonna go try to engage a little bit, but they are met with Ratsu. They get taken down, and Poulet able to stay on top into game number 1.
Whew, they are very disciplined, holding on to a lot of moves and waiting for an opportunity to come into it. That was a very, very great start.
Very great start all in all. Poulet was able to just kind of stay on top, and more importantly, both teams were able to take him down, and so this allowed Suicune to come back in just in the nick of time. I mean, they tried their best, but this is what you sometimes need to do. You need to be able to hold things down, and Katar was able to do that, just trying to hold things down for them and be able to just allow the rest of the team to come back. Mega Mewtwo Y tends to be really good when it comes to doing that much damage over DPS, but in the end, the stall of Katar is what allowed Poulet to be able to stay on top.
Right, and that's a great start moving into it though, with Poulet picking themselves up for 1 round here. Alex, I'm going to ask you a question now. Was it worth it to pick up the Dhelmise here? Because I'm going to be honest with you, as much as it's fun to say 1 hook, I've only saw 1 good hook in that game, and maybe that's enough, but
I think that's the thing when it comes to playing Dhelmise. It's not so much about getting every single hook every single time, especially when you look at the time of when you have Engage's team. If you hook in something like a Blaziken or a Napoleon, they can do a lot of damage to your face, so it becomes a lot more dangerous. Your main target when you're looking at the side of Engage is to get Mewtwo Y. Something that, yes, can teleport, but you're going to have other options to be able to pull it in. So it's not about, getting every single hook. It's about trying to engage things, pun fully intended, but also using the rest of your team. So I still think Dhelmise is a good Pokemon. It wasn't the end-all, be-all key maker, but I still think it has some value for the side of Poulet.
Fair enough, I agree with the stance here taken, but with that being said though, it's time to see how they can switch up the strategies moving forward here. Lots of objectives going on to there. You can definitely see only 2 Regidragos, and honestly, that buff did not make a huge impact early on.
Right, no, it didn't matter in the end. It really came down. It was more of a stalemate if you look at it. A lot of members went down into that fight, but it was just all the stall tactic. That Kyogre could have gone either way. Yes, Poulet had the lead, and we saw even early on the way Engage was able to go on in, and it was a pretty big score gap between Poulet and Engage, as we're going to be able to see, but Engage was able to swing back and make a lot of things happen. But yeah, Katar being the level that they were, having those shields available to them, we're seeing even halfway through, it was 213 to 41, and yeah, they were able to hold the defense down, but eventually Engage was able to slowly over time get and close the gap closer and closer, find their targets, and more importantly, find the momentum they needed to be able to make this happen.
Unfortunately, momentum was just not on their side at the final few moments there, as we do see how long 2 tanky Pokeballs could stall. Look at this. Katar and of course M3 just waiting for an opportunity here. They somehow pick off the Greg. The damage was dealt. They do pick it off. And once again, Katar just had so much to stay and just walking back and forth for the Citrus Berries. It was so hard for them to make it out. And honestly, had it not been the Citrus Berry on Nephil, I really feel like this game could have been a lot shorter for the side of Engage. That one Citrus Berry made all the difference.
Yeah, look at that. The way the Whirlpool went in, and that Ice Beam was the topping of that. That's kind of what settled it there. Kyogre was captured in the nick of time. Luckily, to Emmerich. Like the way they were able to go on in at the very last minute. They did have their Unite move available to them, but they decided to go for the Whirlpool Ice Beam, hopefully get there just in time, and they were able to pull a game number 1. So moving on, both of these teams have shown that they are on a pretty decent scale. INGAGE is good at swinging and coming back from a deficit, but Poulet also knows how to stall to be able to bring their team back. A big note is that Blastoise was actually able to become level 13 along with the citrus berries, so they also had a little bit extra shielding, especially when it came to their surfs. So again, Qatar did a great job being on Blastoise.
So as we move into the next game though, I think we should just hold on to our seats here because I think we both agree the composition isn't really the problem now then. It's more of how they play around the map with what they have. And mind you, like you said, first map, well, it's gonna be a Kyogre map. We still have a choice between Groudon and Rayquaza now, which could greatly change how they're gonna play. Whether it be more aggressive, more campy, it's down to that.
Yeah, we've primarily seen, at least today in EU, we have only really seen Kyogre. Groudon does provide a big buff, especially in the damage department, and Rayquaza could be something that one of these teams like to take, because again, you get those extra shields, you get a little bit of extra damage. Rayquaza is the end-all be-all, and you get to score faster, of course. So Rayquaza, while being very powerful, is a tool. And could you give us a better view of what is behind you? I feel like there we go. That's
we call it beautiful from where I come from, but yes.
Yes. Pepsi man. Yeah, yep. Okay. Well, you know,
I'll make it downloadable for everyone later. Don't worry about it.
make it downloadable for everybody. Yes, Pepsi, Chris, and Platypus Man and Duck Man. I hope you guys enjoyed J'aime le poulet. Again, you guys are not chicken. Again, a platypus is not a duck. It's not even a bird. It's a mammal.
It's a bird.
It has its own different, like, it's called like, oh my god, it's like starts with an M. Monotremes or monotremes. That's what it's all classified. It's not a bird. Ducks are birds. And here's the biggest question though: is Chris Hero a bird?
Personally, I think he's flying really far with this meme, but you know, it could be just me.
It could be, but regardless, here INGAGE needs
we need more Chris screen time.
Lock in. We need INGAGE to be able to lock in, and J'aime le poulet is trying to be able to stay on top.
Yeah, I agree with you on the take here, but ultimately it'll come down to whether we get our match going. But if not, I think my pick is going to be Psyduck for today. No reason why.
I wouldn't have guessed why. Again, I think a Pokemon that was interesting throughout this entirety was Cinderace. I know Traffy tends to play that Pokemon, but the fact that they played Absol, and they did it really well, because Absol's biggest kind of, I guess, kind of like negative sides are the fact that it tends to scale really poorly in the late game. In the early and mid game, it can be an absolute powerhouse, and we even saw it did get taken down. Pokemon like Absol don't do so well, and they are very squishy along with things like Cinderace. So while they still do a decent amount of damage, you got to be able to play to your strengths, and I think that's the thing. This match wasn't, like you said, about composition necessarily. It was more, I think, about skill expression. I think both teams drafted relatively well, but I also think there was some different intricacies to each matchup.
Right. Okay, so ultimately, that's great and all. So I'm not sure we can get into the match, but maybe you want to ask Chris a few more questions before we wrap this up.
It's really hard to be able to look at that picture with Pepsi Men and you see Chris Hero's face, but I gotta imagine the physique is the same. So Chris, how did you get this Pepsi-like physique?
I believed in Psy Platypus as the pick.
But
was that not convincing?
Could you elaborate, please?
If I could change my name from Chris Heroes, it'd be Chris Platypus.
All right, let's get into the game. Traffy's going to be on Greninja. Ratsu, again, we're having, once again, Emmerich be on the Suicune. I do think INGAGE was able to take away some of those key pieces. So at the end of the day, we got a lock in, and they might be watching the stream too because, of course, we see a Psyduck on the side.
Oh, you mean Psy Platypus, but we'll get to a name correction
Those
later.
are different animals.
They have the same beak. Same. Don't worry about it. Anyways, moving on to that. Here,
One's a
level 3
bill,
starting
one's a
off.
beak. What do you mean?
They're both the same. Bills and bigs are, same. No difference. Don't worry about it. Anyways, sweat the little details here. The more important details is the damage numbers that we're seeing across the board here. Looks like Qatar again swapping out from the Blastoise into the Mamoswine here. Nice pick across the board. And tried and true, we are seeing GM and Poulet going in with Froakie, our dear frog in the wild.
Okay, and we see once again this lineup, the little Roomba that could, the little watermelon, if you will, was able to just kind of stay in the means here. We do see Mimikyu has made their way up top. Hiyori's looking for a target. Katar's in a little bit of danger, but they decided to not go in. The question is, will they go the Shadow Sneak or will they go the play rough? Because you can go in, especially once you're up against a thing of danger here when it comes to like Suicune and Swinub. That's a lot of ice. Traffy does have the Comfey available to them though.
Right, and so as we move into this year, the question that I have in my mind is who will come out on top from this fight here. Qatar looking very low, has to back away, no KOs, but still having an advantage against the level 5 Traffy, who has taken so much damage and just can't take another fight.
Yeah, they can't go on any further here. We do see Mifel go in and try to do as much damage as they can against Ratsu. They are Mega Mewtwo, why? And they have a good amount of damage. But when you have this much freeze, you have to be careful. It's not the traditional Ice Lane, but you have replaced A9 with Suicune, who can do that much more. And with the recent change to EXP, having Mamoswine not carry the EXP share, but an extra item to be able to evolve sooner is so much value.
I mean, that's fair enough to say the least, but as we go into that here, it will still come down to the practical side of things, whether Qatar has the opportunity to actually scale up in terms of EXP and levels. Also, starting off to take the damage out here, not letting this Piloswine level up or get any farm. It's a very big problem. Greg is also pushing his level 5 here, which could make this fight a lot harder. However, JM does get Reggie Dragon. Sorry, Alex.
Oh, no, you're good. Emmerich and Qatar were just kind of working together right there. And we see Traffy, the way the meme looks, that is how you Comfey. You're able to take them out, but they don't care because Hiyori is here to be able to get the KO. It is Shadow Claw. And this Ice Lane from Qatar and Emmerich is able to hold them off. 27 to a big old goose egg. Both of these teams are very close knit. And look at that Shadow Sneak that came out of nowhere. I'm sorry, that is the play rough, not the Shadow Claw. But that Shadow Sneak came out of nowhere.
Yeah, I mean, that's great though, because now Hiyori has a way to fight them without really risking too much. The question is, they have to take them out, because if not, they don't have an escape to or extended fight. Just like we see here though, is doing fantastic in that moveset, so what can I say?
I mean, those KOs are so pivotal, and that's the thing. Even up against a Pokemon like Greninja, the play rough is able to just kind of knock them out. It's a free KO, free 99. INGAGE is taking advantage of this, and they want to force a game 3, while J'aime le Poulet is just kind of trying to hold things down. Definitely not as overpowering and steamrolling as they did in the game number 1.
And that's rightfully so. However, they are going to start making headways across that here as INGAGE does pick themselves up for the Reggie Rock. Great start moving into that here. Scoreline 0-46. Alex, this is going to be the time they need to make a play.
They really do. I mean, it's so tight-knit. Nobody wants to overcommit. Greg's able to get a good Psychic. Meanwhile, they're just trying to score on in. 126-30. Ratsu's going to be in a little bit of trouble, but we do see the Water Burst Shuriken. They're unable to do much there. They're able to get 1 KO, get the Surf resets, but they do have to be careful of this Mimikyu. Even Traffy having the Comfey is not going to be enough. Hiyori going to just fight for another day because, again, those play roughs can be very mean to deal with.
Hey, I wouldn't want to play rough with any of my friends here, but ultimately here, it looks like Mimikyu's making it out with quite a lot. The bully of the INGAGE side of things.
Yeah, that's the thing. Here we see INGAGE trying to make a play. The Aslan is leading the charge. Meanwhile, they have their Mega Mewtwo also available. And another score coming from INGAGE. If anything, this is kind of a little bit of a reverse Uno. We saw in game number 1, J'aime le Poulet was able to be on top. And INGAGE was the one fighting back. Now it's the other way around, and Mega Mewtwo Y has evolved. Regieleki is taking a lot of damage. Great job by the Gem Poulet to go on in. This could be a big moment to be able to go on in.
And they're starting it off here. The Icicle Spear just dropped down. They're trying to make some headways. Mama Mash to invest in. And of course, Regieleki still dishing the damage. They have to hook onto Suicune. That's coming in. Emmerich getting knocked by the Shadow Sneak into the play rough here. That's another pick on the side. Gem Poulet slowly losing the ground here with only one member of the team remaining. A hook shot to clean that up here. A beautiful one, mind you. And Regieleki is now able to be defended properly. And Gem Poulet kind of just lost their edge there.
Gem Poulet just not able to find the traction that they need. INGAGE has been doing a great job. Yes, they're able to get the Regieleki, but you don't get any value. And in a game that's all about value, you gotta find the way to pick them apart. And so far, Gem Poulet unable to do what they did in game 1. But Traffy is still on the Greninja. They can make a play. And that's the thing about Traffy. These Pokemon that are the traditional ADCs that do massive amounts of damage, Traffy tends to pop off in the most amazing moments.
Pop off? Pop up? That does not look like popping. That looks like major destruction. A landslide, if you will. That's the Water Burst Shuriken. Do you see the damage on that? And Volto just missed the hook shot. That is a complete juke from him. That is crazy.
This could be a moment right here. Aslan's all alone, but it looks like they're going to fight for another day. They're waiting to make a play. Aslan is here. They're going to be taking a side shock to the face. Meanwhile, INGAGE is going to try to back cap, and this is going to be huge. They're able to break it, and so now Gem Poulet is put in a position where they have to score. They can't allow this to become out of control. Mamoswine's going in. They're trying to get a lot. Volto gets caught in the Psychic Solaire. 1.5 minutes still remain. Qatar is going to need to be able to get out of there. Levels are getting closer to parity, but the scoreline will tell you otherwise.
Yeah, but that's the problem when you say they need to score, because midway, as you can see, they don't have a lot of points to make it work, right? 8 points, 14, 22. That's not a lot to contest against the 50. So forcing that fight, that just felt so wrong.
I mean, I once again have to disagree. You got to be able to break at least one pad, because especially when you're getting to the end of the game here, you have to have advantage. You need to be able to get the points in as you go. So at the end of the day, having any points, because if you let the gap get too far, INGAGE is going to have total control of not only the map, but they're also going to have total control of the score. You don't want to allow your opponents to have that much advantage.
What a shot in the dark there. Midfield actually landing onto Traffy. I mean, it's a homing attack, but it still looks beautiful. Look at the damage fight. No one blocked that.
Yeah, I think that was definitely meant for Comfey, but Comfey was not. You got to time that better. But Traffy is level 13, and so far, INGAGE has been holding things down. 112 to 252. Gem Poulet not in the position that they want to be, especially right now. INGAGE has complete and total control of the map presence in the Kyogre pit.
I mean, they have about 60% across the board here. Let's say if Aslan takes some damage, he has a Citrus Berry to back himself up with. Great start moving into that here. Traffy running around the corner, they do get the hook, and that's the start of the fight.
Green Burst Shuriken or the Water Burst Shuriken. Moonlight Brad's Infinite Cyburn, though, is going to spell a lot of trouble. That Unite move is going to catch up to Traffy. Traffy has nowhere to go. The mean looks are extra mean and angry right now, but INGAGE is going all in. It's a Comfey and an Espeon in it with a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. They get ace, and this Kyogre is free for the taking. Gem Poulet, they have been cooked. They might like chicken, but they were eaten and devoured like chicken.
Hey, INGAGE definitely knew when to engage, pun not intended, but at this point, it just kind of comes down to whether they can take another fight back in return for that. Great start moving into it here. The scoreline isn't too thick, and Alex, it looks like they have a way back into this if they take a good pick onto Greg to start it off.
That's the thing. There's still a minute available, but Qatar is going to be taken out. They're already so low, and look at that. The Mewtwo going in, and no, when it rains, it pours. And right now, it's not raining Mananthea Sky Ruins. It is raining all this Aeos, and INGAGE have been able to clap back, which means we get, finally, for the last set, another Game 3 situation. Traffy was just unable to kind of compete, and that mean look Umbreon, Aslan, holding things down, just kept them at bay.
And it's a great start moving into it for our last match here for today here. I mean, Alex, we've got to cast 8 games, that means. This is a record-breaking, I would say, right? 3 games, we almost maxed it out here, and Well, it's time to look at the drawing board here. What is JM Poulet gonna do here? It was the Delmice that won them the first game because it was in the team. Maybe it didn't have impact, but same result again. Or do we want to pick up Decidueye right now?
I mean, that's the thing, right? I mean, in the end, if they go with Mimikyu again, Mimikyu can Shadow Sneak, boom, and it is gone just the same way. Because Cinderace, Greninja, and Decidueye all kind of sit in that same spot where a very powerful play rough can really just ruin your day. And if they go with something else, Aslan, those mean looks were the big key piece. Yes, you can look at Hiyori's KOs, you can look at Greg, you can look at Mythil, you can look at Volto. But in the end, the fact that based on the team composition that Ghatlue Poulet brought, locking down Traffy, Ratsu, or Emmerich and a play rough is going to end their life. It was not able to do what they needed to. So they were quickly sent to the Pokemon Center constantly to get HP. Traffy was never fully able to pop off, and the rest of the team just had so much control, not only of the map, but the pacing as well.
I want to go against you and say that technically the only reason why Hiyori was able to play with play rough and make it out was also because Hiyori was scaling in levels. If you haven't realized, Hiyori has been on the map, I believe, for the longest time. Didn't get too much KOs on his side. Didn't go down, so he was able to farm up. He was able to scale enough to actually out damage them. And I mean, what can you do if you can't hit it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, that's the thing about in any Mimikyu. You need to have people there who are going to be follow-up and or help you create these things. Yes, Hiyori was all over the map, but Aslan set up so many plays for Hiyori and the rest of the team. Mythil was so aggressive with the Mewtwo Y, and they were, again, when you look at the team composition, Ghatlue Poulet didn't have the necessary bulk that they needed to outlast something like a Psychic, a Mean Look. I mean, you had so much control. You had Delmize being able to use its hook shot. You have Aslan, the Mean Look. You have Greg with the Psychic. So in the end, really, those three are the enablers more than anything to Mythil and Hiyori.
And if you take a look at replays now, you can definitely see how it's gonna pan out. I think a lot of what you said did come true here. Look at that. Hiyori came in a 2v1. Traffy had the up on him and still made it out with 1 KO. Again, as we do see here, in this position, it was so rough for them, but look at where Hiyori is. Can we have a slowdown on that? There was the sneak. There was the play rough. Suicune is out. No one is expecting Hiyori to be so late to fight, but with Shadow Sneak, he's able to just jump in.
Yeah, he was able to jump in and do so much. And this time around, Engage was able to always have momentum. Even when Ghatlue had an opening, when they're up against the number round, they, Engage was always there to score. And we see it right here. Traffy was Mean Look. Where could they go? Nowhere. You converge onto that, and next thing you know, it's one domino after another. And again, even the lockdown that you get, that's why they were able to get an ace on Ghatlue Poulet.
Yeah, but that's enough set for the team. I mean, I think we've glazed both sides enough. They did get 1-1 right now. So right now, it's going to be a fair fight across the board here. Last game on the board. They need this if they want to move up in the league with a little bit of a better scoring for week 1.
Yeah, I mean, going into week 1 here for the UCS, you want to be able to get as much as you can, right? And that's the beauty of the league, is that you're going to see these similar teams throughout the entire season. Sometimes, and with the monthly format, you would see one team do well and then just disband or whatever. Here with the league, you have these teams that not only have a sponsor with them supporting them, like Engage, but more so you also get to see these trainers grow as players because new Pokemon will be released, new buffs, nerfs. The way strategy comes into play for these teams. So while a team wants to always get ahead early on, that's not to say a game cannot turn things around for the latter half of the season.
And that's agreeable because at the end of the day, a team works together. They need to play off each other, just like even in casters, right? I have you to back me up, and I have got your back. Just like how Chris Hero's got my back over here.
Yes, he does physically have your back, and I do think he looks absolutely fantastic behind
Do you want to take a look again?
I'm good.
Okay, got it. We'll hold it on for a little bit longer. We'll have another chance for everyone to take a photo taking session with Alex and Chris later on. But now what's important is to see how INGAGE and JM and Poulet plays this one out. Why are you squinting? Did you eat a lemon?
No, but you could say that I'm a little sour on this. And sure, why? You know what?
Oh, you want to take a photo
Heroes
of me?
and I will be available for pictures after the show. 100%. We're totally not making this up right now. So while I didn't have a lemon, I might have soured a little bit on this, but in the end, like you said, we have each other's back, but players also need to have each other's back. And honestly, the way they were able to work to enable so much and have that extra little bit of both really what came to INGAGE's success. And that's the thing. INGAGE has been an esport team that has just been growing as an organization. So they want to make sure that they not only make a presence here, but they also want to show the world what they're capable of and what they're able to put together for a team. And Hiyori is definitely the star in that like mix. You have all these enablers, but Hiyori on the Mimikyu, whether it be the Blaziken or whatever, along with Mythville, is a 1-2 punch that no team really wants to have to deal with.
Hey, you're absolutely right. It's the age-old question now of how they want to play this out. Good players are good players, but team setting, right? INGAGE versus GM like Poulet, Platypuses versus Ducks.
Yeah. I want to say this again. Platypuses or platypi are not ducks. They are their own species.
Well, that's why I said Platypuses versus Ducks. But if you want to go back to Platypuses are Ducks, we can do that too.
No, I'm the one saying that they're not.
I think they are.
What do you mean?
I think they are.
Production, we're gonna need backup here.
We are gonna get back up. I do believe production is gonna give us the call when our games are gonna be starting here. But one thing's for sure, no Mega Lucario yet. 1 minute.
So we got a little bit of a time before the next game. I mean, we saw in game number 1 that Traffy brought things like an Absol, and I really don't. When I look at the team composition, I like their team composition in game 1 more than I did in game number 2. It felt much more aggressive, and this might be a hot take, but I do think at this point in time, Comfey has become one of the worst supports in the game. And hear me out, a lot of it has to do with the recent EXP share change, because now instead of it's now taking away half of what you have gained before, where it could run around with an Absol and it's not really taking away much. I just think Comfey is not as good competitively, especially when you have things like Latias who can do Dragon Cheer or Mist Ball to kind of differentiate things. It supports things. You have Psyduck who can enable things. Blissey, Bliss Assistance, Clefable. There's just so many better Pokemon that can play support, even if it's not necessarily in the support role, like Vaporeon. But at the end of the day, they kind of maybe listen, even though they had already locked it down. Qatar is not on Defender, but it could be another Scizor. We do see Traffy back on the Absol, and we see Emric this time on the Latias.
I don't know. I don't really agree with the pick here to say that Comfey is not that strong moving into it. But I did see a stray shot from Mewtwo went past Comfey, and you know, we just saw it just now. It hit like Traffy out of nowhere. I mean, there's a reason why Comfey has a circle with a hole in the middle. Maybe that's why it's equally bad. But jokes aside here, you might have a point on that, but it will come down to seeing whether without a Comfey in this game, an impact is being seen with picking Latios as a support instead.
Aslan gonna need to try to retreat here. Mythville does have the Inteleon, which again is just such good confirmation, especially in the early game. Ghatlue, though, wants to take advantage of this, and MS was able to go on in and just take that away. We do see Emric here with Latias. I'm excited to see if it will be a Scizor, which again, Qatar usually ends up playing Defender. So when you have an all-arounder that's all like that, yeah, we might see another Scizor, even though I think it's really well into this composition.
Starting it off strong though, we are going to be seeing them try to take a hit onto Retsu, who is stuck in this mean look right now at level 3 as well. There's no escaping that. The arena was set for him, and well, it looks like one of them did come out, just not alive in the Pokemon Center.
I mean, Aslan had those mean looks in game number 2. They've been showing how powerful they can really be. They set up a stage here, and Traffy's just been up and down not able to find the moments they wanted. Midfield's level 5, but they're going to try to get away to try to make a play. And there we see they get taken down. Midfield, though, still trying to survive against Ghatlue and MS. They get taken down, but here comes Volto. Here comes the members. Again, Qatar's still not level 5, so we don't know for sure what they'll be, but this does mean Mega Mewtwo X for Volto is going to be online if they engage.
And starting it off here, they do get the engage here. Volto making it strong. There it is. Emmerich onto Latios here is down for the count. And like I said, it's going to be a show of whether the Comfy made a difference or Latios being the switch actually made something happen. And right now, I'm not seeing it. It just feels very slow and clunky as compared to supporting a really strong Pokemon.
Yeah, and we're seeing it again. Traffy's being locked down, and look at that overheat. The reach that it was able to go gets a good knockout through the window, through the wall. That overheat is going to catch them all.
And that is great. Moving into that here, the Regidrago is being picked up from the side of Engage here, and I think they want to actually push for a fight now with the buff. Then 7:30 on the clock here, 30 seconds to objectives. Let's see how they want to position themselves here, because there looks like a clear split.
A low-scoring game. Birds of a feather are about to flock together. It is Scyther, though, that Qatar's going to have, but they just get stopped, and Hiyori is starting to scale. Man, I don't know about you, Nitera, but right now, Engage, they are starting to scale, and they're starting to scale quickly. Traffy just keeps getting knocked down. They get caught in the mean look, and then the rest of the team is able to converge, and now we have Snipe Shot and Teleon, while Hiyori is just having the time of their life, getting all their stats.
And mind you, that Hiyori should be the highest level of his team right now, but in comparison to the side of Engage, there's a level 9 Blaziken on the board here, a level 8 Mewtwo Y, so what's the game plan, you know?
The game plan right now is to try to win and try to get knockouts. But look, Aslan once again just targeting Traffy to not allow them to be part of the party. Meanwhile, you do have these snipe shots coming out. Emrek's going to be going down. Here comes Hiyori, and now the rest of the Engage is engaging on in. You have Regieleki on the top path, and now Engage is just rolling like a wrecking ball. They might have talked to Miley Cyrus because they came in like a wrecking ball. 117-9. That is a big scale for Engage, and they are just getting bigger, and they are just getting started.
Hey, he shouted to the heart, and they called his name. They gave that support a bad name. They took down Latias. They didn't give them any space to work around here. And they even took down a Mewtwo with a spit in between the eyes.
Yeah, the split between the eyes. This Scyther Qatar gets pulled and pushed around. And in the end, they are just getting KOs. Engage right now is playing like their life is on the line. You would have thought this was grand finals and they want to go all out because they are going in. And Mega Mewtwo X is just so powerful with the future sight to pull them back in. And look at those snipe shots from Inteleon.
Right, and so as we take a look at the resource count for everything, 9 points to 117 here. We're about triple digits off the clock here, as we do see the level leads are... Well, the disparity is really hard to see, right? I mean, double digit on sub, Engage here, Ghatlue, Poulet not even hitting that double digit numbers. It is hard to take a look at it a second time.
Yeah, I mean, looking at the 5-minute mark, a lot of the members of Ghatlue Poulet barely got their Unite move, so they didn't have those resources available to them. Traffy lurking, but look at the difference. Traffy's level 9 and Hiyori's almost to level 12. The disparity is extremely, and I mean extremely loud. Traffy and the rest of the members are level 9 while Hiyori is just ticked into 12. That is a 3-level differential. Again, you could look at this as a good thing. You could look at this as a bad thing. But right now, Ghatlue Poulet needs every bit of EXP. It's terrifying to know that Umbreon is the highest level compared to anybody on Ghatlue Poulet. The rings are unbound, and they are going in. They're trying to stop them. Qatar gets caught again. Gets KO. And look at these snipe shots trying to find their mark.
Very, very upfront team here, but they're getting pushed back so much. Another trigger being pulled here. This Inteleon is trying to make some headways into the fight and extend their lead longer. Volto stuck in a weird position, wants to wait for an opportunity, jumps in. He does see the Inteleon, comes in to help him, to peel for him, but again, They don't even need to take a fight. Look at the level lead. 13 onto that Blaziken here. Has the Regidrago buff as well. And right now, even with all that, they're trying to make some headways with this. Start to fight the Azure Blue Spy Vision here. They don't make any headways there. Green Illusion dive to invest on Guitar. They do take out one on the Hoopa, one on the Mewtwo here. As they turn it around, it looks like it's all they're gonna get in trade for, again, their Absol.
They did get a decent amount of KOs. Being able to now have everybody on the team be double digits is valuable. But when you look at the scoreline, 226, if you're engaged right now, you have to look at the enemy team and say, we cannot give up more EXP. Meanwhile, if you're Poulet, you're looking at any opportunity to get another KO. 2 big KOs onto the Hoopa and the Mewtwo X very much played into Poulet, along with having the capture of Regice. They've slowly and trying their best to creep back into this, but the scoreline will tell you otherwise. Hiyori is still the highest level Pokemon on the map.
And it's gonna be a rough one to say the least here. As we continue this game, they have only 40 seconds to regain a lead here. Mamoswine coming in to take an Ice Fang. They might get the level 14 Blaziken, which is a great start, but look at each shot that Snipe Shot does. Traffy taking a good chunk of 60% here. Alex, is going to be a tough one moving through the 30-second, 2-minute mark.
Yeah, Qatar has made their way to level 13, though. The question is, do they have the resources to be able to make a play? Hiyori will be back in time, but slowly but surely, Poulet have been able to crawl back in, at least in the level department. They're a little bit closer, so now it's not so much that they have the game in their hands, but they at least now have the opportunity to. But 269 to 9, that is a 260 point difference with 2 minutes remaining. And look, we get to see a Diggersby. We don't get to see that too often.
Well, I mean, that's a bonus for the side of Poulet. They've got themselves a Diggersby just to, screen and deal, but the levels are still not in their favor. This small little bonus just got completely wiped by that 52 dunk here, and I gotta be real with you, Alex. Not looking good after that.
Oh, Volto might actually get caught. Infinite Cyber, and they're going to need to be able to get both. Traffy is looking for a KO. Volto gets taken down. That's a big KO. Qatar able to get a hundo burger of themselves. Traffy gets locked on in, but they're going to use their Unite move to stay alive, and Traffy's going to be able to get away.
First con coming in, Green Illusion dive, they go onto Greg here, damage is being followed, Azure Spy Vision as well invested, and we're not seeing anything more from that story, because right now, 2 players on Engage has to deal with the 4.
This is where things can get real scary. Earthquake into the Ice Fang, and now Inteleon's going to be taken down. That's a lot of members of Engage. Hiyori's by them lonesome. They're getting chased out. They need to run. Another Infinite Cyber. Traffy's going to try to catch them. They throw on the overheat. Right now, Engage is going to need to play either extremely offensive or go on the defense, because right now, Poulet is trying to get the Kyogre. Kyogre's living on a sliver. Aslan is going in, trying to get the stun. Moonlight Prance, and no! It goes to Engage. It was the Blaziken who blazes through. All that's left is Qatar, but they wave the white flag, and Engage gets the 2-1 win over Poulet.
And can you blame anyone? Because Blaziken is the king of secure, and we'll keep saying it till Blaziken gets nerfed. Overheat, securing it at about the 10% mark here. What a beautiful exit coming into it.
Yeah, just a great job by Engage to go. Remember, Poulet was the team that was able to win game 1, and for a moment there, things were looking very scary for Engage. Poulet just came out. Traffy was able to get some good KOs, and Hiyori was kind of left alone at that point, and Poulet just did not have the rip to be able to take Kyogre quickly and swiftly enough that Volto was able to make it back, and so did Aslan and Mythville. Everybody was able to come back. So at that point, Poulet, when they lost the Kyogre and basically got aced, other than Qatar, you gotta wave the white flag. The match was over. Congratulations to Engage, and a great job by both of these teams. That's to say that both of these teams played really well.
And that's the thing though, because Poulet played like the 8 minutes so well, but it just kind of choked at the end here. Traffy got really aggressive at the end, right? Caught onto Volto, ran away with like an inch of his HP remaining here, and somehow they just did not find a good enough opportunity to clean up house here. And again, look at how much they were leading on the side of Engage. Their levels were 14 before even their 11 came up. So much was going wrong for them, and they still played it well.
Yeah, Engage was able to just control so much, and you're gonna see throughout the replays that the score just keeps increasing. But this was a big moment for Le Poulet, because this is where they finally get a KO on both Mega Mewtwo X and the Hoopa, which allowed them to have a little bit more of a prowess. Yes, the scores didn't go, but the levels, and this was the key moment. The Volto just doing anything to get Traffy off of their back, but Traffy's able to have the last laugh. Qatar gets a hundo burger in, and all of a sudden you're starting to see all of Le Poulet come alive. Even Qatar with the green illusion dive, unable to get the KO. They get KO'd themselves, and you start realizing, oh, it is just Hiyori. And at this point, team members are coming back. Kyogre was the central focus, but look, everybody's back. Volto's being a nuisance, and you see Umbreon, Aslan just trying to be as distractive as they can. Moonlight Prance, and of course, Overheat from Blaziken right in the corner.
And I want, if you can pull back the replay here, you can definitely see that Mewtwo had the, well, I would say the KO shot right at the end. So as we slow this down later, you can see how they positioned themselves well. They started early. I mean, yes, they were a little delayed because everyone respawned in, but the timing was just great, right? This is the time that they started, they hit it. And I'll take a look at Retsu here. It's important to take a look at this because he's locked on the shot. Drives it out. Hiyori is coming in. That's the ball. That's the shot. And lastly, this is it. This was the killing blow, so to speak. And it just took out so many things. Kyogre, it took out another Pokemon along with it. And, well, that was that.
Yeah, I mean, it did so much damage to everybody else that they were able to get the KO. And in the end, Blaziken does have, and still always has, unless Overheat gets nerfed, it is going to be a powerhouse to deal with. So a great job by both of these teams. And at least for now, this is where we get to wrap things up, at least for this first week of UCS 2026. Nitera, any final thoughts before we get on out of here?
Actually, I do have a few. First of all, we'll be starting our Alex and Chris photo taking sessions while we give a few shoutouts to some of our favorite people. First off, we're going to be thanking production for starting us off here today with Shivam going into the replays as well as today's entire production on the off-stream games. Then, of course, there's the casters, you and me. We've done an amazing job here. And even onto the other side, I do believe we have an NA stream later on. But as we talk about EU side, we've got Chris giving us the Duck versus Platypus debate. Thank you so much for giving us the eyes on Unity Clash.
Regardless, thank you everybody who came to watch. Thank you to, of course, Shivam, who was able to put so much together. And again, we will be having an NA broadcast covering in a while, so do not go far. There is still a lot more Pokemon Unite action today, not only for UCS, but here at Unity Clash. I've been Zero In on Alex. This has been Ryan Nitera. Take care, and until next time, we will see you on the flip side.